Chapter 105. However, he definitely couldn't show it. Although he needed to temporarily relieve the pain in his hip bone, he still stood up confidently and smiled faintly. You have some skills? It seems like our strength is about the same. That kid's hip was hurt by you. Go and beat him up now. He can't run away. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice sounded in Xiao Chen's ears. Xiao Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly. I say, Elder Heaven Ancestor, can't you see that my fist bone is also dislocated? Then why don't you use the mantra to repair it? What are you waiting for? Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily. Okay. Xiao Chen took advantage of Niu Zhijian's time to use the mantra and let the vitality rush to his wrist and fist. A trace of comfortable warmth wrapped around Xiao Chen's injured area. Soon, it was as good as new. Your hip bone must be very painful, right? You're still pretending to talk to me. Do you think that I didn't notice? Xiao Chen looked at Niu Zhijian with a smile that wasn't a smile. His voice was full of ridicule and ridicule. If you say that, then I also have to say, is your hand going to break? Niu Zhijian was not angry that Xiao Chen saw through him. He only sneered and said, my 1,000 legs are iron legs. Your hand is probably more serious than mine, right? Sorry to disappoint you. My hand is fine. Look, I can still move and make gestures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Xiao Chen kept changing his hand gestures. You're pissing me off. Go and beat him up. Elder Heaven Ancestor was annoyed by Xiao Chen. If you have the time to show off, why don't you beat him up instead? He has already recovered. Didn't you notice? Xiao Chen naturally wasn't the kind of person who would show off. Although his hand had recovered, he also saw that Niu Zhijian had changed his posture. This meant that he was almost done. Sorry, I didn't notice. Elder Heaven Ancestor was a little embarrassed. I noticed you just now. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Luckily, my observation skills are good. Otherwise, I would have rushed up and been killed by you. That's because I taught you cultivation. Otherwise, how could your observation skills be so good? Elder Heaven Ancestor laughed dryly. I was wondering why your hand was so strong. So it's because you practice your hand skills. Although Niu Zhijian was surprised to see that Xiao Chen's hand was fine, he quickly assumed that Xiao Chen was the same as him. It was just that Xiao Chen mainly cultivated his hand. Don't worry about it. If you want to fight, then hurry up. If not, then admit defeat. Xiao Chen waved his hand. Courting death. Niu Zhijian rarely had an opponent in the boxing field. Today, White Fox made him a little annoyed. Most importantly, White Fox was just an appetizer. If he didn't get rid of him quickly, it wouldn't be good to delay young Master Lu's business. Thinking of this, Niu Zhijian immediately shouted and rushed toward Xiao Chen again. But this time, he was smart. He didn't just use his feet, but his hands and feet. His right fist and left foot, one left and one right, attacked Xiao Chen at the same time. Xiao Chen didn't expect Niu Zhijian to attack from both sides, but he didn't dodge. He swung his left fist and stretched out his right foot. He was ready to fight head-on like last time. Anyway, as long as Xiao Chen had time to circulate the mantra, he could recover from his injury. He was a cultivator. The recovery of his injury depended entirely on the vitality in his body. It was completely different from the natural recuperation of a martial artist. He had a huge advantage. He didn't believe that Niu Zhijian's fist was trained. In this way, his leg was fine, but his fist would definitely be injured. At that time, Niu Zhijian's recuperation time would definitely be longer, and Xiao Chen would have a chance. However, Xiao Chen's combat experience was still lacking. In the previous 4 matches, he basically won with a strong advantage in strength, but this time, he made a mistake in judgment. Niu Zhijian rushed in front of Xiao Chen, but he suddenly retracted his fist and feet. His figure suddenly changed, from the previous right fist and left foot to the left fist and right foot. Xiao Chen couldn't help but be shocked. Although he noticed this change, and his brain reacted immediately, he was still a step too late. After all, Niu Zhijian suddenly changed his move at a close distance. Bang! Bang! Xiao Chen blocked Niu Zhijian's left fist, and his left fist also swung out. Although it didn't block Niu Zhijian's right fist, it also smashed on Niu Zhijian's shoulder. However, the left leg below took a solid hit from Niu Zhijian. After all, the leg was different from the fist. When Xiao Chen swung his right fist, his left fist could also be swung out reflexively without retracting it. However, when his right leg was raised and didn't fall down, his left leg couldn't be lifted at all. Xiao Chen wasn't a jet plane. He needed a gravity support point. Pa! The fist was nothing. After all, Niu Zhijian's fist wasn't as overbearing as the leg, but his left leg had a piercing pain. He almost fell to the ground. Xiao Chen quickly retracted his leg. Originally, he wanted to kick with his right leg, but his left leg couldn't support it anymore. He could only retract his right leg to support his body. Although he hit Xiao Chen, Niu Zhijian's shoulder was hit by Xiao Chen, and his left fist was also in great pain. He quickly took a few steps back before he could stand firm. Niu Zhijian was very surprised. This change of fist and feet was his unique skill. He had practiced for many years to be able to make rapid changes at the critical moment. This kind of speed couldn't be achieved by ordinary people. This kind of move was very deceptive. Niu Zhijian had used this move to kill several opponents, including a martial artist who had just advanced to the 4th stage of inner force. However, Xiao Chen could actually respond in such a situation. Although it couldn't be said to be a complete response, at least he swung both his fists. This made Niu Zhijian take it seriously. He didn't know if Xiao Chen was injured now. He had kicked Xiao Chen previously, but Xiao Chen's fist seemed to be uninjured. Therefore, Niu Zhijian didn't dare to be careless. He quickly took a few steps back. He was afraid that if Xiao Chen was fine, it would be his death. His fist and shoulder were in great pain. His entire upper body didn't feel like it was his own. He had to adjust his breathing. Xiao Chen learned from his mistakes, but he couldn't be blamed. He used to be the young master of the Xiao family. He usually trained by himself. When did he fight with others? These tricks hadn't formed a concept in his mind. He endured the pain in his left leg. Although it was heart-wrenching, Xiao Chen knew that this was a great opportunity for him. While Niu Zhijian's upper body injury hadn't been adjusted, he could take advantage of the situation and win a crucial victory. As for his leg, he gritted his teeth and endured it. Xiao Chen was a person with strong endurance. If a good-for-nothing didn't have a bit of perseverance, how could he overdraft himself in the secret room for more than 10 years? Of course, this was also because Xiao Chen had a very powerful and domineering identity as a cultivator. Cultivators could use vitality to heal themselves, but martial artists couldn't. If a martial artist's body was injured and they didn't adjust their breathing to temporarily return the injured part to its original position with their inner strength, but instead continue to fight, it was very likely that the injury would worsen or even be unable to recover, resulting in a lifelong disability. But it didn't matter to Xiao Chen. One was a body refiner, the other was a qi refiner. As long as the vitality in Xiao Chen's body was still there, no matter how serious his injury was, he could recover. This time, it was Xiao Chen's turn to attack first. This made Niu Zhijian's eyes flash with a trace of surprise. He couldn't understand why the white fox didn't adjust his breathing for a moment after suffering a heavy blow from him and launched an attack. Could it be that the white fox really wasn't injured before? Not only was his hand kung fu good, but his leg kung fu was also good? However, what shocked Niu Zhijian was yet to come. Xiao Chen actually used the same ultimate move as before, right fist and left leg. Could it be that his left leg really wasn't injured at all? Otherwise, why would he use his left leg to attack? For the first time, Niu Zhijian doubted if his ultimate move was effective. However, Niu Zhijian was a veteran boxer after all. At this moment, he didn't panic. He quickly retreated while adjusting his breathing. Fortunately, his leg was fine. It didn't affect his retreat when he was adjusting his breathing. However, he couldn't be too fast. It would affect the injury on his upper body. Although Niu Zhijian was retreating, his eyes were fixed on the white fox's right fist and left leg. He wanted to see clearly if the white fox was like him, playing a feint and then quickly changing his move. Although Niu Zhijian felt that the possibility wasn't very high, his ultimate move had been practiced for more than 3 years. However, this white fox was really a bit difficult to deal with. What made Niu Zhijian relieved was that Xiao Chen didn't show any signs of changing his move even when he was close to him. Niu Zhijian just finished adjusting his breathing. With his upper body, Niu Zhijian didn't dare to punch Xiao Chen again. However, his legs were fine. He suddenly tilted his body to the side, wanting to avoid Xiao Chen's right fist. Then, his right leg kicked toward Xiao Chen's left leg. Pa! Hong! 2 loud sounds. That's right, there were indeed 2 sounds. One was when Xiao Chen's fist hit Niu Zhijian's body. The other was when his leg kicked Niu Zhijian's leg. Left fist and right leg. Ouch! Niu Zhijian suddenly screamed. His sternum was dented by Xiao Chen, right in the heart. However, Niu Zhijian didn't understand until he died. He clearly saw the white fox's right fist and left leg, but it was the left fist and right leg that hit his body. He didn't see the white fox change his move, not even until he died. He was a martial artist at the peak of the 3rd stage of inner force. He thought he could clearly see if Xiao Chen changed his move at the last moment, but the audience was quite far away, and they were just watching the show. No one cared what Xiao Chen used. Illusion. What Xiao Chen used just now was the special ability of a 3rd stage refinement cultivator. Chapter 106. Xiao Chen couldn't change his moves at the last minute like Niu Zhijian. He didn't even have normal combat experience, let alone such a difficult move that required many times of practice. The illusion made Niu Zhijian think that Xiao Chen had always been using his right fist and left leg. He didn't change his moves until the end, but Niu Zhijian had seen wrongly. Boom! With a dull sound of contact with the floor, Niu Zhijian fell to the ring, giving him a taste of his own medicine. The same move, but the outcome was completely different. In fact, if Xiao Chen wanted to win, he didn't need to kill Niu Zhijian at all. However, due to the needs of his true identity, Niu Zhijian had to die. If he didn't die today, he would turn around and deal with him. At that time, he couldn't expose his true strength, so it would be a little difficult to deal with. Xiao Chen stood in the ring and looked coldly at Niu Zhijian's corpse. He circulated his mental cultivation method and used his primordial energy to repair the injury on his leg. The referee was a little dumbfounded at this moment. He was a member of the Lu family gang, so he naturally knew Niu Zhijian. The cheers from the audience made the referee a little overwhelmed. Niu Zhijian was actually dead? The ace boxer of the boxing arena, the super fighter of the Lu family gang, and a peak 3rd stage inner strength martial artist. How could he die just like that? Referee, can you announce it now? I'll get off the stage to rest and get my prize. Xiao Chen had already circulated his mental cultivation method and used his primordial energy to repair the injuries on his body before he spoke lightly. However, from the outside, Xiao Chen didn't seem to have suffered any injuries. This made the referee secretly shocked. He quickly ran to the ring and announced, "This match, White Fox wins." Wow, wow, wow. There were enthusiastic cheers from the audience. Although Xiao Chen's odds were extremely low, who wouldn't do something like betting to make money? Everyone had bet heavily. Of course, they were overjoyed that Xiao Chen had won. The connoisseur recognized the artistry, while the layman enjoyed the show. Lu Zhenming, who was sitting in his office, was livid. He never expected that the Lu family gang's super fighter would die in the ring. Now, not only did the boxing arena have to lose money, but most importantly, what would happen if Xiao Chen came later? Calm down, Master Ming. Winning and losing are common in the boxing arena. You can only win if you lose. Our arena has been around for a long time and we are still making a profit. You don't have to worry. Luozi was angry. Why did White Fox appear at this time? If he made Lu Zhenming unhappy, what if he went back and told Lu Siwen to replace him as the person in charge of the boxing field? Then his good days would come to an end. After all, being a small boss here was a good life. If he returned to the gang and became a normal soldier, Luozi would be in deep trouble. Both of them were amateurs, so they couldn't tell how the White Fox had won. I understand everything you say. But, what if my classmate comes later? Lu Zhenming frowned. We can't fight to the death without a top-level match. What if we arrange a match for him and he admits defeat? According to the rules, he can't fight anymore. This. Luozi was helpless. Your classmate hasn't come yet, right? Maybe he's afraid that he won't come? What if he comes? That kid went to the morning market to sell youtiao. Maybe he'll go there at night too. It'll be a waste of time. Lu Zhenming didn't dare to take the risk. Then, even if he comes, why don't you tell him first and let him familiarize himself with the environment? Then, bring him to watch other matches. When he's ready, he'll fight in a few days, Luozi said after some thought. I'll try. Lu Zhenming nodded with a frown and said, but if he comes, don't arrange other matches. At that time, only arrange a first-level match. Don't let him see any boxing masters that are too powerful. If he doesn't dare to fight after seeing them, then it would be a waste of effort. I understand. Luozi quickly nodded. Master Ming, don't worry. I've already sent someone to patrol the entrance. They'll inform me as soon as they see the person in the photo you sent me. Okay, that's good. Lu Zhenming said, that White Fox, hurry up and make him scram. Tell him that the strongest opponent has already been killed by him. He is not allowed to challenge opponents weaker than Niu Zhijian. Master Ming doesn't need to remind me. That's the truth. Luozi said, that's the rule. Our people will inform him. Sure enough, when Xiaochen entered the lounge to rest, the man in the white shirt quickly walked over and said, Mr. White Fox, you've already won the final victory. Currently, you're the strongest boxer here. If there are no other opponents who want to challenge the top matches, you can't go on stage for the time being. I understand. Give me the bill. Xiaochen nodded to show that he understood. Just now, he used his spiritual sense to sense Luozi's office. He clearly heard the conversation between Lu Zhenming and Luozi. Okay, Mr. White Fox. After the man in the white shirt heard Xiaochen's reply, he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Since White Fox wasn't fighting anymore, his worries were gone. Your current bonus is 795,200 yuan. Because you're the ever-victorious general, we've decided to round it up to 800,000 yuan. Thank you very much. Xiaochen nodded. Yes, although it was only 5,000 yuan more, 5,000 yuan was still money. Now that Xiaochen was short of money, it was good to have as much as possible. However, Xiaochen was a little grateful to Yu Xiaochuan. Thanks to the girl fund that he gave him, however, Xiaochen had some doubts now. Did Yu Xiaochuan really give the money? Why didn't he give it directly to me, but to Tang Tang? It didn't make sense to say that it was to save my face. He had already seen Xiaochen's shamelessness. Every time he invited me to dinner, he never cared about my face. Was he afraid that Qi Zhigao would see it? Xiaochen also couldn't figure it out. At the beginning, his attention was on solving the trouble, so he didn't perceive other things. But then again, who would expect this money in advance? With 800,000 yuan in his hand, Xiaochen quickly left the underground black boxing field. It wasn't a place to stay for a long time. He would come again with his real identity later. If he had more contact with the man in the white shirt, he would be familiar with him. It would be troublesome if he recognized him. For a master like White Fox, the boxing field would naturally not send people to follow him. It was good to send away this kind of plague. Who would have the mood to provoke him? However, although he felt that no one followed him, Xiaochen still did not directly take his school bag. Instead, he walked around a few times, and then released his divine sense spiritual power to sense for a while. After confirming that no one was following him, he quickly walked to the place where he hid his school bag. He put away the mask and the chef's suit and restored his appearance when he went to school. He picked up his school bag and dialed Lu Zhenming's phone number. Xiao Chen. Lu Zhenming picked up the phone. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to really call him. Before, he was looking forward to Xiao Chen's call, but now, he didn't look forward to it. Young Master Lu, your underground black boxing field is really hard to find. I found an abandoned factory. It seems to be here. Can you come out and pick me up? Xiao Chen said while panting. This. Xiao Chen, it's already this time. There are no boxers in the boxing field. Why don't you come back another day? Lu Zhenming asked tentatively. Another day? No way, right? Why are there no boxers? Are you kidding me? If that's the case, then I'm leaving. I won't come back to play with you anymore. Xiao Chen said very disappointedly. Ugh, how is that possible? Lu Zhenming hesitated for a moment. Suddenly, he had a plan. He said, now, there are boxers in this boxing field, but they are all very powerful. I'm afraid that you can't win. It won't be good if you get beaten up again. After all, we are all classmates. I can't harm you, right? Now, Lu Zhenming deliberately said this to show Xiao Chen that if Xiao Chen insisted on fighting, then he deserved to die. It couldn't be blamed on him. And at this moment, he also secretly turned on the phone recording. His purpose was to leave evidence. In his opinion, a stage 2 inner energy boxing master was enough to kill Xiao Chen. Chapter 107. While they were talking, they walked into the underground boxing field. Although it was the second time for Xiao Chen to come, he was still like Granny Lu when she first entered the Grand View Garden. He looked left, right, east, and west. He was curious about everything. Xiao Chen, do you think we should prepare for the competition? Asked Lu Zhenming. Tell me about the rules first. Xiao Chen didn't show too much enthusiasm. It would be easy for others to see the problem. In fact, there are no rules. Lu Zhenming said, after you go up, you just have to try your best to defeat or kill the opponent. The winner will get 100,000 yuan. As for the money to bet, it depends on the odds. You are a newcomer. The general odds are between 1-3 to 1-5. Oh, then I bet all my family's assets on it. You have to give me a higher odds, said Xiao Chen. A higher odds? No problem. I will help you. 1-5. Lu Zhenming patted his chest and said, the person in charge here can still give me this face. Oh, 1-5. That's fine. I have 200,000 yuan here. You can help me bet. Xiao Chen didn't dare to say too much. Lu Zhenming already knew his identity as the young master of the Xiao family. He probably also knew that when he left the Xiao family, he left with nothing. It was already very good to get 200,000 yuan. If it was too much, there would be a problem. What's more, if Xiao Chen took out 800,000 yuan directly, then Lu Zhenming wouldn't think of anything at that time. If Xiao Chen won later, would he think of the previous white fox? Xiao Chen didn't want to take such a big risk for this little money. Although Xiao Chen was now short of money, in any case, saving his life was the first priority. 200,000? That's a lot. Lu Zhenming was stunned. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to have so much money. Oh, I had some before. Tang Tang gave me some, and Yu Xiaochuan gave me some to pick up girls. Xiao Chen said. All right, I'll help you place the bet. Get ready, you'll be on stage in a while. Lu Zhenming nodded, but he was wondering why Yu Xiaochuan gave Xiao Chen so much money. But it didn't matter anymore. Xiao Chen was going to be a dead man soon. Lu Zhenming walked out of the preparation room and went to make arrangements for the fighters. The $200,000 was handed over to a staff member for him to bet. Xiao Xiao Chen smiled coldly and closed his eyes to rest. After a while, Lu Zhenming came back. It was obvious that everything had been arranged. Xiao Chen didn't waste his spiritual awareness to explore this time, because there was no need. The most powerful fighter in the boxing field had been killed by White Fox. If there were more powerful fighters, it was impossible not to send them to deal with White Fox. Xiao Chen, it's all arranged. Here is the information of your opponent. Lu Zhenming said and handed a document to Xiao Chen and said, look carefully. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will win every battle. Thank you, young Master Lu. Xiao Chen took the information gratefully and looked at it. However, this information was obviously modified. If Xiao Chen hadn't seen other people's information before, he wouldn't have found it. In this information, there was no information about the opponent's strength level. It only described what this person did, how many boxing matches he fought, and how many times he won. For these things, Xiao Chen didn't need to look at them at all. What this person used to do had nothing to do with Xiao Chen, but he still pretended to study it very carefully for a long time. Lu Zhenming found it very funny. After a while, a white shirt came in and gave Xiao Chen a registration card. Then he said, excuse me, would you like to use your real name or a code name? Code name. Call me Universe Super Invincible Chen. Xiao Chen didn't know why he thought of the miss and the dog. Oh, okay. The white shirt was stunned and then nodded. Xiao Chen's registration card was number 109. It seemed that this registration card was not issued in order. It seemed to be random. Not long after, a voice calling for Xiao Chen to go on stage came from the loudspeaker. Next, I invite the newcomer of the boxing arena, Universe Super Invincible Chen, to get ready. At the same time, Xiao Chen's head appeared on the big screen outside. The person fighting him was the boxer that Lu Zhenming had just brought over. Her name was Zhu Juhua. At this time, Xiao Chen went to prepare, and the audience in the audience seat began a new round of bets. Because Xiao Chen was a newcomer, the odds were very high. It was still 1-5. As for Zhu Juhua, although he was an old man, he was just a second-rate boxer. His odds were 1-2, so in comparison, there were more people who bet on Xiao Chen. This was also what Erluozi and Lu Zhenming wanted to see. In their eyes, Xiao Chen would lose without a doubt. He could still earn some money for them before he died. It was an excellent use of trash. 20 minutes later, Xiao Chen and Zhu Juhua went on stage at the same time. Neither of them wore a mask. Xiao Chen guessed that this person's name, Zhu Juhua, was not his real name. How could there be a man named Zhu Juhua? Universe Super Invincible Chen vs. Zhu Juhua. Xiao Chen and Zhu Juhua stood on the stage. Xiao Chen did not appear to be very calm. He looked nervous and looked around. Zhu Juhua looked at Xiao Chen with disdain. Erluozi had talked to him alone when they were below the stage. He told him to be a little more ruthless in this match and kill Xiao Chen. Even if he didn't die, he would turn him into a vegetable. On the surface, Zhu Juhua would definitely be declared to have broken the rules and the prize money would be revoked. But secretly, Zhu Juhua would definitely be compensated with a sum of money. It would not be 30,000 for a second-level match, but 10. Zhu Juhua held his fists together, and Xiao Chen did the same. Both of them stood still and waited for the referee to announce the start of the match. 3, 2, 1, start. A roar sounded, and the match began. Actually, Xiao Chen already had a rough understanding of Zhu Juhua's strength. Based on the number of matches he had participated in, he could tell that Zhu Juhua was a Stage 2 or Stage 3 inner force warrior. Brat, it's not an injustice for you to die in my hands. Zhu Juhua said indifferently and launched his first round of fierce attacks. Now, Xiao Chen could see his true strength. He was only a Stage 2 inner force warrior. Once upon a time, Xiao Chen had been yearning to reach Stage 1 inner force. But now, a Stage 2 inner force warrior was like an ant in Xiao Chen's eyes. However, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to kill Zhu Juhua right away. That would expose his strength too obviously. You're a stage 2 inner force warrior? Xiao Chen's eyes widened in shock. He broke into a run. Although his movements were nimble and his speed was extremely fast, the force that he unleashed was only close to the first stage of inner force. It might not even be at the first stage of inner force. Xiao Chen's speed of escape surprised Zhu Juhua. He did not expect Xiao Chen's reaction to be so agile. He actually started running. Zhu Juhua was determined to win. Zhu Juhua's fierce boar fist hit nothing. The reason why Zhu Juhua was called Zhu Juhua was because the martial art he practiced was called fierce boar fist. This was also his famous move. In this ring, although it could not be said to be invincible, when he used his full strength, it was difficult for his opponent to escape the fate of being injured. Because his speed was very fast, even if he could dodge it, he would be swept by the wind of the fist and suffer some minor injuries. However, he did not expect that a newbie boxer who had not even reached stage 1 inner force could actually dodge it. What kind of luck was that? However, most of the audience present did not know anything about martial artists, inner force, martial arts, and the like. They were purely here to watch the show. When they saw that Xiao Chen dodged the punch easily, they thought that he was very strong. The people who bet on Xiao Chen immediately cheered. Lu Zhenming was in the surveillance room. He frowned slightly. He had heard about Xiao Chen before. He was a good-for-nothing. He did not expect that although this good-for-nothing strength was not very good, his reaction was not weak. Humph, you can dodge once, but you can't dodge forever. Zhu Juhua snorted coldly. He turned around and urged the fierce boar fist towards Xiao Chen again. However, at the moment when it was about to hit Xiao Chen dodged it again. This luck was really good. However, what happened next was a little strange. Zhu Juhua attacked from behind while Xiao Chen ran in front. Although it seemed to be very dangerous every time, Xiao Chen could always escape in the end. The audience thought that Xiao Chen was very strong at first, but now it seemed that they were a little disappointed. It turned out that he was just a coward who only knew how to dodge. In fact, ordinary people really couldn't dodge Zhu Juhua's fierce attack. Xiao Chen seemed to be in a difficult situation. In fact, even a stage 2 inner force martial artist would not be able to escape unscathed. To kill Zhu Juhua, it was easy for Xiao Chen. As long as he took the opportunity to dodge and wave his hand, he could end Zhu Juhua. However, Xiao Chen couldn't do that. He kept running and dodging, looking for an opportunity. Motherf **Ker, this kid is quite agile. Lu Zhenming looked at Xiao Chen dodging again and again. He was a little depressed. He doesn't have any other skills, but he's good at escaping. Master Zhenming, this kid might have trained before. Although his strength isn't that great, his dodging skills are not bad, Luozi said. Of course, he used to be the Xiao family's Xiao Chen. It's impossible that he didn't train before. He was born useless and couldn't cultivate his inner force no matter how hard he trained. I think his family was afraid that he would be bullied in the future, so he trained to escape. Lu Zhenming analyzed. That's possible, but dodging is not a solution. Judging from his performance, he's a martial artist who hasn't even reached stage 1 inner force. He only has some explosive power and speed. When his stamina is exhausted, it'll be his time to die. Luozi nodded. With this analysis, the two of them were not as anxious as before. They quietly waited for Xiao Chen's stamina to be exhausted. Chapter 108. Those who saw Xiao Chen's high odds and were greedy enough to bet on Xiao Chen were now regretting. This person had been on the stage for 10 minutes, and he hadn't made a single move. He was just dodging. After fighting for a while, Zhu Juhua complained incessantly. Don't look at how he seemed to have the upper hand, chasing after Xiao Chen and fiercely beating him up. However, that was only in the eyes of outsiders. In reality, every time he used a martial technique, he would consume some of his physical strength. After using his inner strength, there was no time to recover, so his physical strength consumption was no less than Xiao Chen's. Moreover, he was also anxious. He came with a mission, but it seemed that Xiao Chen was running around in circles. In fact, Xiao Chen had been looking for an opportunity, but he didn't know where to start. Seeing that Zhu Juhua's inner strength and speed were getting weaker, he knew that Zhu Juhua was also tired. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen's mouth flashed a smile, and then he said to Elder Heaven Ancestor, "Elder Heaven Ancestor, let him think that he hit me. This kind of errand again. Is this kind of small shrimp worth my time?" Although Elder Heaven Ancestor complained, he still prepared to do as he was told. The reason why Xiao Chen didn't use illusion was that he was different from the previous white fox. If he used illusion, Xiao Chen would make a feint, and it wouldn't match his previous image. Ha! This time, let's see if you die or not. Zhu Juhua was really affected by Elder Heaven Ancestor. He thought that he hit Xiao Chen, so he smashed in the direction where Xiao Chen was standing. And at this moment, Xiao Chen had already turned behind Zhu Juhua. He suddenly extended his leg and kicked fiercely at the space between his legs. "Zhu Juhua, I'll give you an anus." Bang! With a muffled sound, Xiao Chen's kick not only landed on Zhu Juhua's buttocks, but it also landed on Zhu Juhua's balls. These two were the weaker parts of the human body. Even if Zhu Juhua was a stage 2 inner force martial artist, she still cried out in pain and knelt on the ground. His hands covered his lower body, and he rolled on the ground. Xiao Chen took this opportunity to kick Zhu Juhua's head. 1 kick, 2 kicks, 3 kicks, and each kick was aimed at the temple. Zhu Juhua was already in pain, so how could he care about defense? As a result, he was dizzy from the kicks from Xiao Chen. He fainted after a few kicks, and he didn't know if he would wake up again. I won. Xiao Chen saw that Zhu Juhua was not moving. He was stunned at first, but then he shouted excitedly. At this time, the judge also came up to the stage. Although Luozi had told him not to stop Zhu Juhua from killing Xiao Chen had now won. He could only announce Xiao Chen's victory. This match, the universe's super invincible Chen wins. The judge announced loudly. Xiao Chen was panting heavily, and he quickly got off the stage. He did not enjoy the joy of winning. Instead, he was scared. He said as he walked, "Scared me. Lu Zhenming, you bastard, are you trying to kill me?" Lu Zhenming was in Luozi's office, and he saw everything clearly. When he saw Xiao Chen win the match in such a way, he was speechless with anger. Wasn't this the same trick he used to beat up Ma Gangmen? It was a kick to the anus. It was extremely vicious. However, he could not say anything. There were no rules in this boxing match. No matter what Xiao Chen did, it was fine as long as he won. Therefore, while he sighed at Xiao Chen's good luck, he was also annoyed. If Niu Zhijian did not die, he would not be so weak. Zhu Juhua's strength was too low, and her reflexes were not strong enough. Instead, she was defeated by a trash like Xiao Chen, who did not even have level 1 inner force. Was Xiao Chen really a trash? Perhaps they had overlooked one point. Not to mention someone who did not have level 1 inner force, even someone with level 1 inner force would not be able to win against Zhu Juhua. Originally, Lu Zhenming was in a bad mood. His face was pale, but he had to welcome Xiao Chen. At this time, when he heard Xiao Chen say that he tricked him, it made him even more depressed. "Xiao Chen, congratulations. You see, I told you that money is easy to earn." On the surface, Lu Zhenming pretended to be happy and congratulate him. "I say, young Master Lu, are you trying to trick me? This person is a martial artist with level 2 inner force. Aren't you trying to trick me by asking me to fight with him?" Fortunately, I ran fast and practiced a unique skill, which is the flying kick to the anus. Otherwise, would be lying on the ring today. Xiao Chen said to Lu Zhenming angrily. "Ugh. Xiao Chen, you can't blame me for this. Didn't I say it before? The remaining boxers today are very powerful. I asked you to come another day. I was afraid that I would scam you, but you insisted on participating. I couldn't do anything about it. Lu Zhenming shrugged helplessly. How can you blame me for this? That's true. I insisted on it. I thought it was easy. I didn't expect it to be so difficult. Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. Right, young Master Lu, where's my money? This. I will ask someone. When Lu Zhenming thought of Xiao Chen's odds, the corner of his mouth twitched twice. He was counting on using Xiao Chen to earn some money, but the odds were 1 to 5. He lost a lot. In comparison, Xiao Chen's little bit of money was really nothing. Thank you, young Master Lu. You really want to be friends with me now. You know that I'm short of money, so you sent me money. You, young Master Yu, and young Master Kun are all my partners and good friends. Xiao Chen said gratefully. Ha, of course. Lu Zhenming's smile was uglier than crying. However, his heart moved and he suddenly asked, right, Xiao Chen, do you want to pursue the victory and fight again? In Lu Zhenming's opinion, Xiao Chen was completely relying on good luck this time. After that, Zhu Juhua was confused by Xiao Chen. She might have been a little impatient, so Xiao Chen found the opportunity. However, if there was another second stage inner force martial artist, Xiao Chen wouldn't be as lucky as before. It can't be. You are right. The strength of these martial artists today is very high. I'm not their opponent. I was lucky to win just now. I should stop while I'm ahead. Let's talk about it later. Xiao Chen said. Okay. Xiao Chen didn't want to fight anymore. He couldn't force Xiao Chen to fight, right? Moreover, the words that said that the martial artists were powerful were also said by him. Then I'll take the bonus and leave first. See you tomorrow. Xiao Chen said happily, I didn't expect that I have 1 million. This money is really easy to earn. Oh, no, it's 1,300,000. There's also the principal and bonus. I'm rich. I'm really rich. Since I came out of my family, this is the first time I've earned so much money. Then if you're short of money, come again. Lu Zhenming smiled reluctantly and tempted him. Okay, but this opponent is too strong. Are there any weaker players? I heard that there are martial artists who are at the first level of inner energy participating. Then, should be able to beat them, right? Xiao Chen suddenly asked. Ugh, first level. That doesn't seem to be possible. According to the rules of the boxing field, people who have defeated a second-level inner energy martial artist are not allowed to challenge opponents of a lower level. Lu Zhenming quickly explained. If that's the case, then forget it. Well, forget it. It seems that I should really practice hard when I go back. I found that although I can't practice internal energy, I still have strength, especially this anus kick. I'm going to turn it into my unique skill. Speaking of this, I have to thank you, young Master Lu. Ma Gangmen is your younger brother, and you introduced me to this boxing field. When I finish practicing, we can practice together. I heard that your strength is also good, and you are also a warrior who is close to the first level of internal energy. Is it true that you are also a warrior who is close to the first level of internal energy? Our strength is about the same, so we can learn from each other. Puff. Lu Zhenming staggered after listening to Xiao Chen's words. He quickly waved his hand. Xiao Chen is joking. I'm not as good as you. Forget about learning from each other. If there's a chance, you should come and fight. In the past, Lu Zhenming looked down on Xiao Chen and thought that he was a bumpkin. Later, when he knew Xiao Chen's identity, he also thought that Xiao Chen was a loser. But now it seemed that he couldn't beat this loser. After all, he was from a big family. He had more heritage than the underworld family like the Lu family. Even a loser could be so bad *SS. If he fought with Xiao Chen, he would be kicked into anal fistula. He didn't know when it started, but when Lu Zhenming and Xiao Chen were alone, he felt a little afraid. Oh, then forget it. We are good friends now. I can't beat you up. It's not fun to learn from each other. When I succeed in my cultivation, Ma Gang Men should be discharged from the hospital, right? Why don't I let him practice with me? Xiao Qin nodded and said. Lu Zhenming was a little regretful. Why did he provoke Xiao Qin for no reason? This kid was really a warmonger. He was a loser, but he was still so restless. If he was a genius, then others wouldn't be able to stop. But now the hatred had been formed. It was impossible for Lu Zhenming to let it go so easily. He could only take one step at a time and think of other ways to deal with Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin left with 1.9 million. Lu Zhenming went back and calculated with Air Luozi. The underground boxing arena lost a lot in one night. White Fox, Xiao Qin, I hate you. Lu Zhenming clenched his fists and roared at the sky. However, he couldn't afford to provoke the White Fox. That kind of person was obviously a fugitive. Even Miao Zhijian was killed. Lu Zhenming naturally wouldn't dare to provoke the White Fox unless he asked the old ancestor of his family to come forward. However, with his ability, it was impossible for him to ask the old ancestor to come forward for such a small matter. It was getting late. Xiao Qin had to go back as soon as possible. Otherwise, Miss would be worried. On the way back, Xiao Qin passed by a small supermarket. He bought some vegetables, meat, eggs, and a cookbook. Since he had the 6 senses of a cultivator, it would be a waste not to use it. Chapter 109. Xiao Qin was talented in deep-fried dough sticks and deep-fried cakes. So, he should be equally talented in cooking other delicacies. This was the logic of mastery. Xiao Qin, you're really something. Do you want to be a chef while you're cultivating? Elder Heaven Ancestor sounded disappointed. Those who don't eat will die. What's the point of cultivating? Xiao Qin shrugged helplessly. Elder Heaven Ancestor, I'm living under someone else's roof now. If I don't please the lady, we'll both be doomed if I'm kicked out. I think you're trying to woo the goddess with your cooking skills. Elder Heaven Ancestor mocked disdainfully. You're overthinking. Xiao Qin rolled his eyes. I'm sick of eating instant noodles myself. When Xiao Qin returned to the villa, Qing Menjing and Jean Beibei were already there. Seeing the ingredients in Xiao Qin's hands, Jean Beibei was shocked. Cousin-in-law, you bought so many raw vegetables and meat. Who knows how to cook? Qing Menjing was also a little surprised. In her opinion, even if Xiao Qin knew how to deep-fry dough sticks and cook some simple breakfast, it was far from cooking. She did not believe that Xiao Qin could cook when he was in the Xiao family. I can't always eat instant noodles, can I? Xiao Qin said. Oh. You know how to cook. Qing Menjing was a little surprised. To be honest, she had not been eating well in the villa recently. She felt that eating instant noodles was refreshing because she had never eaten them before. However, after eating too much of it, it did not taste so good anymore. Occasionally, there would be some leftovers, but they were already delicious. Qing Menjing understood that her father did not ask the family to send a chef for her because he did not want to expose her relationship with Xiao Qin. The Qing family probably wants to see me torture Xiao Qin, right? I can learn. I'm a transformer. Xiao Qin smiled and said, didn't I learn how to make fried dough sticks? That's right. My cousin-in-law is a transformer. Then, quickly become a 5-star chef. Tonight is Beibei's last night here. I will go back tomorrow. Grandpa misses Beibei. Jean Beibei said reluctantly, Beibei wants to have a big meal tonight. I'll do it then. Xiao Qin nodded. He had gotten used to Jean Beibei being in the villa these days, but he didn't expect Jean Beibei to leave so soon. I'm hungry too. The instant noodles were soaked by me, so they're not tasty. You didn't come back to help me, so I wanted to wait for you to come back and punish you. Seeing that you've worked so hard to be my servant, I'll forgive you this time. You won't be so lucky the next time you come back so late. Qing Menjing put her hands on her waist and said to Xiao Qin, hurry up. Be diligent and make the meal. I want to check and accept it in person. Hee, okay. Xiao Chen entered the kitchen with the ingredients and started to read the menu. According to the ingredients he bought today, Xiao Chen chose 4 dishes: alfalfa tomato, sweet and sour Crucian carp, charred pork strips, sesame oil lettuce, and a sour and spicy soup. 2 meat dishes and 2 vegetables dishes were all common home-cooked dishes. Xiao Chen didn't want to cook those fancy but impractical hotel dishes. His mistress was probably sick of those dishes. Although it was his first time cooking, Xiao Chen was very skilled. The steps of the dishes seemed to have been imprinted in his mind. With the experience of frying youtiao, Xiao Chen only needed to follow the steps and accurately control the ingredients and the timing of the ingredients to make a good meal. Forget it. Since you like your goddess so much, I'll give you some advice. Back in the day, I was also a master at picking up girls. As Xiao Chen was cooking, he suddenly heard the voice of the elder heaven ancestor. Pfft. Ahem, elder heaven ancestor, don't scare me, okay? I'm concentrating on cooking, and you scared me. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Fortunately, he had good psychological quality. Otherwise, he would have done something wrong. When you're cooking, you can inject a trace of primordial qi into the dish. Just a trace is enough. The elder heaven ancestor said, the dish made in this way will be much more delicious than normal dishes. Even if it has no taste, it will be as addictive as smoking cigarettes. Inject primordial qi. Smoking cigarettes? Will there be any problem? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. It's just a metaphor. You naughty disciple, why are you so stupid? How can primordial qi compare with smoking cigarettes? It's formed by the essence of heaven and earth. Therefore, a trace of primordial qi is enough to make it delicious in the mortal world. The elder heaven ancestor said, why do people say the celestial peaches are delicious? In fact, it's because the ordinary peaches are contaminated with celestial aura, which is the spiritual aura of heaven and earth. I see. Xiao Chen nodded and injected a trace of primordial qi into the alfalfa tomatoes in the pot. Of course, he did not dare to inject too much primordial qi into them. He was afraid that the mistress and Jean Bebe would have problems eating them. Of course. If you don't believe me, you can try it later. The elder heaven ancestor said proudly, it was invented by a buddy of mine years ago. He has more than 10 wives. So, is he good at picking up girls or you? Xiao Chen was speechless. Let's not talk about this. After the elder heaven ancestor said that, he remained silent as if he did not exist. After Xiao Chen finished preparing the alfalfa tomatoes, he made the sweet and sour Crucian carp, the charred pork strips, and the sesame oil lettuce. He even injected a trace of primordial qi into the hot and sour soup. To Xiao Chen's surprise, the speed at which the dishes cooled down was obviously slower. In other words, when Xiao Chen finished the last dish, the first alfalfa tomatoes were still steaming hot. There was no telling whether it was his illusion or not, but Xiao Chen put the dishes on the dining table while he was amazed. Then, he invited Qing Menjing and Jean Bebe to join him for dinner. The first meal was the instant noodles that Qing Menjing made for Jean Bebe. However, the two of them went to watch TV after they finished the noodles. After watching the latest episode of Campus Belle's Bodyguard, the instant noodles became soft and tasted horrible. The two of them ate the noodles together and threw them away before they could finish the entire box. Also, it was the last box at home. Since the two of them were unwilling to go out to buy more noodles, they waited for Xiao Chen to come back and see if he had brought delicious food. As they expected, he did. Wow, it smells so good. Cousin-in-law, if I had known that you were really a transformer, we wouldn't have gone to the Azure Sea Palace. We could have just eaten at home. Before Jean Bebe walked to the dining table, she was already drooling because of the fragrance. It's not that delicious. Qing Menjing secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva, but on the surface, she looked like she did not care. She glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "It's your honor that I'm going to test it myself." Haha. Of course. It's my honor that you can eat the food I cooked. Xiao Chen smiled. He had begun to get to know his mistress. Since she liked the taste, he would just play along with her. Qing Menjing cleaned the corner of her clothes that had been crumpled on the couch and walked close slowly, hoping to see what Xiao Chen had done. But the moment she raised her head, she discovered that Jean Bebe was already wolfing down the food with a handful of burnt strips of meat in her mouth. Hey, Bebe, what are you doing? What am I supposed to eat if you are eating so fast? Seeing that the burnt strips of meat were almost gone, Qing Menjing immediately bristled. Sob. It's so delicious. Ah. Cousin Menjing, my husband is all yours. You can eat it every day, but Bebe is leaving tomorrow. You won't be able to eat it. Jean Bebe swallowed the delicious food in her mouth and said. Who wants to eat it every day? I don't care about it. Qing Menjing snorted, but she was a little complacent. That's great. Bebe will eat it all. Jean Bebe clapped her hands happily. After saying that, she continued to grab the burnt strips of meat and stuff them into her mouth. Hey, I said I don't care about it, but I'm hungry. I have to force myself to eat something. Qing Menjing was immediately infuriated. Slow down. Wait for me to wash my hands and come back. Qing Menjing ran to the washroom quickly. However, no matter how fast she was not as fast as Jean Bebe's mouth. The burnt strips of meat were almost gone. Is it so delicious? Seeing that the bottom of the plate was exposed, Xiao Chen picked up the last strip of meat on the plate and planned to taste it himself. He had been busy cooking just now and had not tasted it. There's no more. Qing Menjing came back after washing her hands. She found that the plate was empty, but Jean Bebe's mouth was full of grease. You. Spit it out for me. Well. Gulp. Jean Bebe swallowed the food in her mouth and looked at Qing Menjing meekly. I can't spit it out. Can I spit it out? Go to hell. Qing Menjing glared at Jean Bebe in fury. She turned around and saw that there was still a burnt strip of meat in Xiao Chen's hand. She immediately grew anxious. Xiao Chen, give it to me. Okay. Xiao Chen picked it up. Before he ate it, he had seen his mistress arguing with Jean Bebe and forgot to eat it. Seeing that Qing Menjing wanted it from him, Xiao Chen raised his hand and raised the burnt strip of meat to his mistress's mouth. After all, she was his ex-fiancée and his current mistress. What was the big deal about giving in to her? Xiao Chen did not mind Qing Menjing's order at all. Smelling the fragrance, Qing Menjing almost drooled. She opened her mouth and took a bite of the burnt strip of meat in Xiao Chen's hand. However, the taste was too delicious. It was crisp and not greasy. Qing Menjing wanted more after one bite, so she continued eating. She ate the remaining piece of charred meat in Xiao Chen's hand, but it seemed like it wasn't enough. She sucked on Xiao Chen's finger a few more times, as if sucking on his finger was more delicious. At this moment, Xiao Chen was dumbfounded. Xiao Chen realized what was going on, too. The feeling of his finger being sucked and licked by Qing Menjing's small mouth and tongue made Xiao Chen feel strangely comfortable. Watching the proud mistress sucking his finger was not only a physical enjoyment but also a psychological satisfaction. Qing Menjing only cared about the delicious food and did not think too much about it. Seeing that Xiao Chen's hand was still in midair, she was still not satisfied. Hey, is there any more? I haven't tasted anything yet. I want to taste it again. Wow. Cousin Menjing, you sucked my cousin-in-law's finger just now. You are indeed having an affair. Jean Bebe was dazed, too. You are so skilled. You didn't practice with your mouth, did you? Chapter 110. Ah. Only then did Qing Menjing realize what she had just done. She was a little flustered after hearing Jean Bebe's words. Bebe, what nonsense are you spouting? I'm just afraid that you'll snatch it away and eat it. Yes, that's it. Fine. It's meaningless to expose you. Jean Bebe shrugged. I'm going to keep eating. I'm going to eat, too. This time, Qing Menjing was no longer reserved. She picked up the chopsticks and began to put food into her bowl. Jean Bebe, on the other hand, picked up the plate and poured the food into her bowl. Bebe, can you be more ladylike? Seeing that more than half of the alfalfa tomatoes were gone, Qing Menjing was immediately anxious. Cousin Menjing is the ladylike one, said Jean Bebe. Neither am I. Qing Menjing picked up the sesame oil lettuce and placed it in front of her. Seeing the two of them fighting for food, Xiao Qin was somewhat speechless. Was it really that delicious? He had thought that 4 dishes and 1 soup would be enough. Who would have thought that it would turn out like this? What would he eat later? As he expected, the dishes on the table were soon finished. There were only some vegetable leaves and vegetable soup left. Jean Bebe and Qing Menjing were both rubbing their bellies in their seats. It seemed that they were very full. Xiao Qin had no choice. He scooped a bowl of rice and soaked the leftovers in the soup. It was a stew. He took a bite. It was really delicious. No wonder the 2 girls were so excited about it. Hey, Xiao Qin, you are not allowed to cook as delicious as this tomorrow. I will get fat. Qing Menjing said to Xiao Qin tiredly. Just don't cook so much. Xiao Qin shrugged. Besides, it doesn't matter if you are fat. You are too thin. Xiao Qin, do you have a weird taste? Do you like fat girls? Qing Menjing could not help but ask. Shen Jingxian and Kerlin are not fat either. Xiao Qin thought of Tang Tang, but he did not say it. Humph. Qing Menjing snorted and stopped talking. Nobody knew what was on her mind. Jean Bebe did not say anything. She was probably too full to say anything. Otherwise, how could a little chatterbox like her miss the chance to interrupt? After resting for a while, Qing Menjing and Jean Bebe went upstairs to rest. Xiao Qin was about to return to his room to practice when he saw Xiaoya coming downstairs. Smelling the smell of the food that had not dispersed in the dining room, he frowned. You should take some herbal soup. Avoid meat. Thanks for the reminder, but it is not for me. Xiaoya. 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 Shaking her head, Yi Xiaoya said nothing. She opened the fridge and took out the bitter fruit. Obviously, she was going to decoct the herbal soup. Xiao Qin nodded at her and returned to his room. To be honest, Xiao Qin coveted Yi Xiaoya's bitter fruit. It would be great if she could give it to him. In that case, he would not have to worry about the high price of the medicinal materials. However, Xiao Qin had some money now. Naturally, he would not covet Yi Xiaoya. After returning to his room, Xiao Qin set the time for the herbal soup and entered the state of cultivation. After taking the decocted herbal soup, Xiao Qin still did not advance to the 4th level of the qi refinement stage smoothly. He was still at the peak of the 3rd level. However, Xiao Qin was not in a hurry. In just a few days, he had obtained the strength that he could not achieve in the past 10 years. In particular, the fight in the underground boxing field tonight made Xiao Qin a little excited. Strength, this was the strength that he had dreamed of before, but now he had it when he was down and out. After a quiet night, Xiao Qin got up before dawn the next morning and rushed to the morning market street. Although he had money in his pocket, Xiao Qin did not forget his roots. He went to the morning market street not only to make money, but also because there was his happiness, and he wanted to protect his buddy. It's great to see that you are fine. Tang Tang, with dark circles under her eyes, showed a reassuring smile when she saw Xiao Qin. Obviously, she was worried about Xiao Qin all night. I'm sorry, I should have sent you a message last night. Xiao Qin was a little embarrassed. After going back last night, he was busy cooking and then cultivating, so he forgot to tell Tang Tang. It's nothing. Did Qing Menjing not want you to go back so late? Tang Tang shook her head indifferently. It's good that you are fine. Did you win or lose yesterday? I won. I also know that Lu Zhenming is deliberately looking for trouble with me, but even if I don't go to boxing, will he let me go? Maybe he will think of other tricks to deal with me. It's better for me to follow his wishes, and he will stop for 2 days. Xiao Chen said. That's true. Tang Tang nodded. Right, how much money did you win? Xiao Chen hesitated and did not hide it. He stretched out a finger. He couldn't say White Fox's, but he could say Xiao Chen's. Even if he didn't say it, maybe Lu Zhenming would leak it out. 10,000? Didn't you say that I won 100,000? Tang Tang was slightly stunned, and then said, 10,000 is not bad. How many days do I have to sell fried dough sticks? Ugh, it's 1 million. Xiao Chen said. 100, puff, what? Tang Tang's eyes widened, and the action of loading the car stopped. She looked at Xiao Chen blankly. Really? I say, Tang Tang, you used to be the miss of the Tang family. 1 million shouldn't be like this, right? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. It wasn't like this before, but now. I don't know what to say. You didn't lie to me, right? Tang Tang still didn't believe it. I really didn't. Xiao Chen said, this is the case. In addition to participating in the competition and winning the 100,000 yuan prize, I also borrowed some money to bet, so I won this much. D*****, you are too ruthless. Then why are you still selling fried dough sticks? Tang Tang was a little baffled. You are already a millionaire. Do you still care about this little money? Isn't there a good saying? It's not how much money you make, but who you make money with. Xiao Chen smiled. Ah. Tang Tang was stunned. She looked at Xiao Chen and pursed her lips. For a while, her expression was a little weird. Aren't we brothers? I can't ignore you just because I'm rich, right? Without me, you can't make such a popular fried dough stick, right? Xiao Chen saw that Tang Tang seemed to have misunderstood, so he quickly explained. You should have said it earlier. You scared me. I thought there was something wrong with your sexual orientation. Tang Tang patted her chest. Am I really interested in Tang Tang? A thought flashed in Xiao Chen's heart. No, she treats me as a brother. How can I have such a thought? Xiao Chen shook his head. How is it possible? Don't I like Qing Menjiang? I really didn't expect that there would be a counterattack, but Xiao Chen, you have to work hard. Maybe you can counterattack one day. Buddy, I am optimistic about you. Tang Tang patted Xiao Chen's shoulder. I don't expect to counterattack Qing Menjiang. It's more likely to counterattack you. Xiao Chen shook his head. He still had self-knowledge. He couldn't be self-righteous just because he had a little strength. There was still a long way to go to make these families look up to him. You really have no ambition. If you want, I'll let you do it now. Tang Tang curled her lips and didn't take Xiao Chen's words seriously. After loading the rickshaw, Xiao Chen pedaled the tricycle in front, and Tang Tang sat behind. This warm scene seemed to be familiar with each other, and the two of them were indispensable. Today, Kerlin didn't work hard when she was pushing the rickshaw, but looked around. D*****MN girl, just push the rickshaw. Why are you looking around? Mother Lin found that Kerlin didn't push the rickshaw well today, which increased her load a lot. She was a little annoyed. Are you looking at the scenery? Ah. I don't. Kerlin was actually looking for Xiao Chen, but how dare she say this to her mother? If her mother knew that she was looking for a boy, wouldn't she be beaten to death? If you don't have, then push the rickshaw. You're so weak. Didn't you sleep well? Mother Lin snorted. Lin Kuer hurriedly lowered her head and pushed the cart with all her might. However, from the corner of her eyes, she saw a familiar figure pedaling a tricycle at a crossroad not far away. He turned a corner and headed towards the direction of the morning market. Ah! Kerlin exclaimed. It's Xiao Chen. If I push the rickshaw forward like this, I don't want to be discovered by Xiao Chen. At that time, what if Xiao Chen knows that I bought his fried dough sticks? He would misunderstand that I like him, wouldn't he? But I just want to help him. Maybe there's a little affection. What's wrong again? Mother Lin heard her daughter's voice and asked quickly. Although she always scolded Lin, she still cared about her daughter. I twisted my ankle. Lin's voice was trembling. Lying wasn't her forte. For Xiao Chen, she lied to her parents for the second time. However, because of her trembling voice, Mother Lin really believed it. You unlucky child. Who asked you to look left and right? Are you done? Did you twist your ankle? Is it serious? No, it's okay. I just need to rest for a while. Lin said carefully. Then you sit by the side of the road for a while. Your dad and I will push the rickshaw over. Mother Lin was helpless, but her daughter was injured. She couldn't force her to work, right? It was still okay for the two of them to work a little harder. Oh. Lin whispered and went to sit by the side of the road. Looking at the figures of her mother and father going away, Lin's heart was slightly uncomfortable. Did I learn bad things? How can I lie to my family for a boy? I am no longer the simple Lin from before. Woo-woo. After a while, she estimated that Xiao Chen should have arrived at their booth. Lin stood up, lowered her head, and walked quickly to the morning market street. When she passed by Xiao Chen's booth, she was particularly nervous. She tried to hide from the sight of other pedestrians in the morning market. With a glance from the corner of her eyes, she saw that Xiao Chen was busy. He has finally changed. He has become diligent. He is no longer the young master who asked people to eat. I don't know. How is his academic performance? Lin didn't dare to stay and quickly ran to her family's board noodle stall. Chapter 111. In fact, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to notice Lin at all. There were so many people on the morning market street. He couldn't look at others while frying youtiao, and there was no need for it. It was Lin who thought too much. Mother Lin was also preparing to open the stall. When she saw Lin running over, she frowned and said, "What's wrong with you, girl? How can you run so fast with a sprained ankle? Do you want to die?" Lin's face was a little red. Yes, she was thinking about Xiao Chen's changes before and after, and forgot about her sprained ankle. She quickly said, I was afraid that Mom and Dad would be busy here, so I rushed over as soon as I got better. All right, old lady, don't scold the child. The child is just being kind. Lin Dongliang was an honest man. Although he was sometimes afraid of his wife, he would still speak up when it came to the child. Go and wash the vegetables. Mother Lin nodded. Although she kept scolding Lin, she thought that the child was kind, so she let it go. Lin rushed to wash the vegetables. However, she had been a little absent-minded. She always thought that after a while, she would go to Xiao Chen to buy youtiao and soybean milk, but she was afraid that her mother would not agree. What if she agreed and asked her to buy as much as yesterday? Yesterday, he had already taken care of her very much. Today, she couldn't be so shameless to ask for so much, right? Worrying about gains and losses, Lin was like a robot, mechanically doing the work at hand. Fortunately, there was no technical content in washing vegetables, cooking vegetables, and noodles, and there would be no mistakes. When Xiao Chen was making the youtiao, he wanted to inject a trace of primordial qi, but he gave up after thinking about it. These things used to sell were already very delicious. If they were more delicious, it might cause some people suspicion, and then it would not be worth it. Today, Xiao Chen was crazy busy. Tang Tang added a new project. Tofu pudding and soybean milk didn't need to be managed by himself, but in addition to youtiao, there were also sesame balls and fried dough twists. Xiao Chen had been frying non-stop since the beginning of the stall. And their stall had become famous, and there was an endless stream of customers buying things. After a while, Kerlin felt that it was almost time. She hesitantly raised her head and looked at her mother. Mom. I still want to eat the youtiao I bought yesterday. Mother Lin was just about to ask what to eat when she suddenly remembered that Lin Kur had bought so much with 15 yuan yesterday. It was a great deal, so she took out another 15 yuan and handed it to Lin Kur. Let's buy the ones from yesterday. It's enough for our whole family. Ah. Lin Kur's face instantly turned bitter. What she feared had come true. Yesterday, Tang Tang had taken care of her and gave her a little more. But today, how could she ask for more? Chen, go. What? Lin asked. Lin, Chen, hurry up and go. Mother Lin frowned. I'm hungry from all the work. Oh. Kerlin had no choice but to pick up the money and slowly walk to Xiao Chen's booth. She was thinking about how she would be scolded when she came back, but scolding was a small matter. Tomorrow, maybe he wouldn't let her buy things anymore. Walking all the way to Xiao Chen's booth, Kerlin saw that Xiao Chen was frying youtiao, and immediately stopped. She didn't want Xiao Chen to see her. Wouldn't it hurt his self-esteem? Lin Kur decided to wait for a while. She found a place with a lot of people to hide, and quietly watched Xiao Chen's side, looking at him seriously frying youtiao, meticulously and without the slightest pause. Lin Kur suddenly realized that Xiao Chen was actually quite handsome. In the past, she had already seen his hedonistic side, so when she saw him, it was as if she wanted to avoid him. But now, he should be the Prince Charming in the hearts of those girls, right? Kerlin thought about it, and her face turned red. Why did I think of these messy things? Xiao Chen couldn't really like me. He used to pursue me, and he also liked Shen Jingxian, and Cheng Menjing, his fiancée. Maybe he just wanted to play with me? People ate grains, and Xiao Chen hadn't transcended to the ranks of the omnipotent immortals who didn't need to eat and drink. Naturally, he had to go to the toilet. The fried youtiao was almost done, and it was enough to sell for a while. Xiao Chen said goodbye to Tang Tang and went to the toilet. At this time, when Xiao Chen left, Kerlin breathed a sigh of relief and walked over quickly. However, there were still people buying things at this time. Kerlin held the 15 yuan and didn't know what to say. Tang Tang also saw Kerlin. She had some impression of this girl in school uniform who came yesterday, but because she was busy greeting other customers, she didn't have time to talk to her. Until there were no customers for the time being, Tang Tang asked, "Junior sister, what's wrong?" My mother asked me to buy. Kerlin's smile at the moment was uglier than crying. She didn't like to take advantage of others. At this moment, she said this sentence, and she couldn't say anything else. Your mother asked you to buy? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. How much did you buy today? My mother asked me to buy yesterday's. Kerlin spread out the 15 yuan in her hand with some embarrassment and bowed her head shyly. You still bought yesterday's. Tang Tang was not stupid. Seeing Kerlin's embarrassment, she immediately understood what she meant. It turned out that her mother felt that she took advantage of her yesterday, and today she still asked her to take advantage of her. However, this girl's mind was relatively simple, and she wasn't used to this. Otherwise, if it were some ordinary people in the market, they would probably directly tell Tang Tang that they bought those for 15 yuan yesterday, and they would also sell these for 15 yuan today. I'm sorry. Sister, you can sell as you like. You don't have to take care of me. Kerlin also saw today that Xiao Chen's youtiao stall had an endless stream of customers. It didn't look like it couldn't sell. Oh, 15 yuan. Then you say 15 yuan. It's the same as yesterday, a soy milk, and the rest are youtiao, right? Tang Tang could see that since Kerlin's family also opened a stall on the morning market street, they must not be rich. She would take care of them if she could. After that, she began to fill a bowl of soy milk for Kerlin. However, the amount of soy milk was about the same as yesterday, more than 2 bowls. She also gave a lot more youtiao. After filling it, Tang Tang pretended to be indifferent and handed it to Kerlin. We sell things on the same street. I'll give you a discount next time. Ah. Thank you, sister. Kerlin breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't know why, after knowing that Xiao Chen didn't need help, Kerlin still wanted to buy breakfast here every day. Was it because Xiao Chen's cooking was delicious? Kerlin took the breakfast, thanked her, and left quickly. She was afraid that if she left a little later, Xiao Chen would come back. Carrying the youtiao, Lin Ke did not have the slightest bit of joy from yesterday when she had bought a lot. Yesterday, she had thought that she was helping Xiao Chen, so she had bought more to help him eliminate his stock, so she did not feel any guilt. However, today was different. Today, it was clearly that elder sister who was giving to her. Alas! Kerlin didn't want so much, but she was afraid that her mother would go back and scold her, and would never let her come again. While worrying about gains and losses, Kerlin returned to her family's noodle stall. You bought so much again? Does this stall make money? If we sell noodle like this, we will lose a lot of money. Mrs. Lin took the youtiao from Kerlin's hand and happily asked Lin Dongliang to eat it, not noticing the helplessness in Kerlin's eyes. Kerlin moved a stool, sat in front of the stall, and ate the youtiao and soy milk with her parents in silence. It was delicious. She didn't expect that Xiao Chen could make such delicious food. You buy it every day. We don't eat noodle anymore. I'm sick of eating it every day. It's not much expensive, and it's delicious. Mrs. Lin was also addicted to it, thinking it was much better than eating noodle every day. Mom. He gave me so much to take care of me because I also run a stall in the market. I don't want to buy it every day. How can I do that? Kerlin finally couldn't help it. She thought that if she went every day, she would not help Xiao Chen, but take advantage of him. You are such a prodigal child. What's there to be embarrassed about? I'm not asking you to beg. You are buying it with money. We are in the same market. If you take care of it today, can you not take care of it tomorrow? At most, you won't make any money. You tell him that the next time he comes to our house to eat noodle, we will also give him the cost price. Mrs. Lin said as if it was a matter of course. She was addicted to it. How could she not eat it? Kerlin pursed her mouth, but how could she dare to talk back to her mother? Sure enough, not long after Kerlin left, Xiao Chen came back. Seeing that the youtiao was almost sold out, he fried it again. By the way, yesterday the girl whose family also runs a stall here came to buy youtiao again. 15 yuan, I still gave her the same amount as yesterday. Oh, it doesn't matter. We are all in the same market. You decide. Xiao Chen didn't care about this kind of thing at all. After selling for a while, they were about to close the stall and leave for school. Today was the day the results were announced. The exams for the third year of high school were very frequent. It was impossible for the teacher to announce the results one by one solemnly every time. They would distribute the papers, and then there would be a big list of their age ranking. At this time, those who could study would study hard. Those who didn't like to study would usually find a way out for their families. Anyway, although the number 2 middle school was not as good as the number 1 middle school, there were many rich people in it. This time, Xiao Chen got the 10th place in the grade, while Tang Tang got the 6th place. To Xiao Chen's surprise, the young lady was actually the 3rd place in the grade. He usually didn't watch the young lady study, but she was still among the best. It seemed that she had some real skills and was not a pure arrogant and brainless goddess. As for Jean Bebe, her name couldn't be found in the top 100. He only found her in the class list. Her results were very bad, and she was in the bottom 10. Chapter 112. However, Xiao Chen knew that Jean Bebe was very smart, and her mind was probably not in the right place. Anyway, as a young lady of an aristocratic family, it did not matter whether her studies were good or not. She would marry after all. Aristocratic families did not care about studies, but who could bring more benefits to the family. Lu Zhenming's results were cancelled, and he was very depressed. As a new member of an aristocratic family, he cared about his exam results very much. Because of the nature of his family, it was difficult for him to enter the upper class. Therefore, Lu Siwen had always wanted Lu Zhenming to be successful in his studies. At least, he could be regarded as a cultured person. Well done, Xiao Chen. I didn't expect that you could get a scholarship of 1,000 yuan after studying for a few days. Tang Tang took over Xiao Chen's test paper, but she suddenly frowned. Hey, Xiao Chen, what's wrong with you? Why are the multiple choice questions still blank? Even if you don't know how to do it, you might get it wrong by randomly choosing one, right? Hee, I didn't write it on purpose. If the results are too good, it will easily attract some unnecessary attention. That's enough. Xiao Chen had given up the idea of using exams to make money. His current money should be able to support him for a while, as long as the drugstore did not cheat him. Today's class was all about explaining the exam papers. The morning passed quickly. At noon, Jing Xiaokuan turned his head and said to Xiao Chen, did you really go to Lu Zhenming's boxing field to fight yesterday? Yes, and I won. Xiao Chen nodded. Damn, how much did you win? Jing Xiaokuan was stunned. In his opinion, with Lu Zhenming's character, it would be good if he did not find someone to beat Xiao Chen to death, let alone let Xiao Chen win money. 1 million. Xiao Chen did not fool Jing Xiaokuan anymore, but said directly. 1 million? My God. Jing Xiaokuan's eyes widened, and his expression was the same as Tang Tang's before. Why do I feel it is so unrealistic? Is Lu Zhenming so generous? That boxing arena is the Lu family gang. It's probably because the great boxing masters aren't here, and the person I'm fighting is too weak. Originally, Lu Zhenming didn't want me to fight, but I insisted, so he reluctantly agreed. In the end, I won. Xiao Chen said. He didn't explain too many details. Lu Zhenming naturally wouldn't say these things. So that's how it is. No wonder he stopped you, because he didn't have the confidence. But he's really unlucky. Jing Xiaokuan nodded in realization. But Xiao Chen, you're lucky this time. Next time, forget it. You don't know that kid, he's very sinister. A family that plays with the underworld is different from a normal family. Yes, I know. Xiao Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly. A normal family was probably not as good as a family that played with the underworld. At least, what Lu Zhenming wanted to do, he was straightforward. But now Xiao Chen had not figured out which family was the other group of people who wanted to deal with him. At noon, the three casually ate something in the cafeteria and returned to the classroom. Lu Zhenming and Yu Xiaochuan didn't invite Xiao Chen to eat again. It seemed that they had stopped. Until school ended in the evening, no one looked for trouble with Xiao Chen. Although Tang Tang, Jing Xiaokuan, and Lu Zhenming all knew Xiao Chen's identity, except for Tang Tang, others didn't know the relationship between him and Qing Menjing. So he didn't take Qing Menjing's car back, but still chose to walk. When he got home, he saw Qing Menjing sitting alone on the sofa in the living room. When she saw Xiao Chen coming back, she said angrily, "Hey, I sent you a text message. Why didn't you come back with me? I'm afraid that it'll be a bad influence. Besides, didn't you say that you don't want me to go to and from school with you?" Xiao Chen shrugged. "I changed my mind, okay? I'm starving. You go and cook." Qing Menjing thought of the delicious food last night. The lunch in the cafeteria was tasteless. "Huh, okay." Xiao Chen nodded. It turned out that the miss was in a hurry to eat. Today, there was only Qing Menjing. Jean Bebe was not there, so Xiao Chen didn't cook too much. He made 3 dishes, and it was enough. All the ingredients he bought yesterday had been used up. After the dishes were set on the table, Xiao Chen asked Qing Menjing to come to eat. Qing Menjing was still watching the TV series called School Bell's Bodyguard. She was fascinated by it. When she saw Xiao Chen, she pointed it out to him. "Hey, look, in that TV series, Miss Mingyao's bodyguard is also very powerful. But he not only knows how to cook, but also has great kung fu. You have to work hard, or I'll replace you. That's all in the TV series. How can such a powerful person be a bodyguard? Xiao Chen glanced at it and said. Why not? Can't he like Miss? I am under the orders of the eldest Miss's father to pursue the eldest Miss. Cheng Menjing said in a serious manner. Then. Does Uncle Cheng want me to pursue you? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. You. If you're so powerful, I'll consider it. Cheng Menjing didn't expect Xiao Chen to become so powerful, so she didn't feel any pressure when she said that. Anyway, her intention was to show how good Lin Yi's bodyguard was in the TV series and how bad Xiao Chen was, so that he could improve himself. Is that so? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Okay, let's eat. I'm hungry. Cheng Menjing saw that Xiao Chen asked this, and her face was a little hot. She quickly changed the topic. Oh right, help me pay attention to the author Fishman Toos public Weixin platform. Search for Fishman Toos verified number or urine 22. I want to ask him if he really has such a powerful bodyguard. Is he writing about real people and things? If he does, I'll send you for training. Damn, I still need training. Xiao Chen didn't expect Miss to take it seriously. However, if he really became powerful, would Miss let him pursue her? Xiao Chen felt a little strange just thinking about it. I hate fishmen too. Looking for trouble for no reason. Xiao Chen thought. Fortunately, in front of delicious food, Miss quickly forgot about Fishman Toos, School Beauty's personal expert, and began to eat with relish. The feeling of no one fighting with me is really great. Cheng Menjing saw that Xiao Chen didn't eat much, and she was very satisfied. Sweat. You can eat enough. I haven't eaten yet, and more than half of it is gone. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Hey, what do you mean? Do you think I can eat? Cheng Menjing glared at Xiao Chen. It's your honor that I eat what you cook. Xiao Chen nodded. After eating, Miss went upstairs. Xiao Chen continued to practice in the room. Today was the last day of using this medicine. If he didn't break through, Xiao Chen still had to buy medicine tomorrow. This made him very distressed, although he already had millions of assets. Elder Heaven Ancestor, if this medicine doesn't work today, can it be used again tomorrow? Xiao Chen asked. Yes, but it won't have any effect. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Isn't that the same as not saying anything? Xiao Chen was really speechless. That's the same as asking nonsense. Elder Heaven Ancestor also said. Xiao Chen brewed the medicine and sealed all the dregs. This was a holy medicine for martial artists to heal injuries. Maybe one day, he could sell it for a high price. However, what disappointed Xiao Chen was that after drinking the third pot of medicinal soup, although Xiao Chen's body was greasy and black from the training, he didn't level up and break through. After taking a bath, it was time to see if he could break through the barrier at night. If he couldn't, Xiao Chen could only buy more medicine tomorrow. In fact, Xiao Chen's current speed of leveling up was very amazing. Less than half a month after leaving home, Xiao Chen's strength was already comparable to that of a martial artist at the peak of stage 3 of internal force. In the wee hours of the morning, Xiao Chen stopped his cultivation and stopped the circulation of the mantra. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen did not break through. He felt that there was still a short distance to go before he could break through. It did not mean that he could break through immediately. He had not even touched the barrier yet. Phew. Xiao Chen sighed. The previous speed of leveling up was too fast, which caused Xiao Chen to be dissatisfied. In fact, if he thought about it carefully, he already had such strength, so what if he waited for a while? After cleaning up, Xiao Chen ran to the grocery store near the morning street. At the beginning of a new day, Xiao Chen and Tang Tang set up a breakfast stand, and the business soon opened. Now, Xiao Chen and Tang Tang's youtiao had become a famous snack in the neighborhood. It was reposted and recommended by many people who had bought it in their WeChat moments. Therefore, more and more people came because of its reputation. After eating it, they were all satisfied. Moreover, now these people had figured out the rules of Xiao Chen and Tang Tang's stand. They opened the stand in the early morning and closed the stand at about 7 o'clock. They didn't sell more than a moment, so if they wanted to eat, they had to do it early. Of course, they didn't know that Xiao Chen and Tang Tang were going to school. They thought they were very arrogant, selling for a few hours every day, and not waiting after the expiration. However, the more exaggerated the rumor was, the more people came to eat. People were like this. The things they rushed to buy were good things, and it didn't matter if they could always buy it. Kerlin was still sent by her mother to buy fried dough sticks. Kerlin was a little depressed. She clearly told her mother that she didn't want to take advantage of others, but her mother still asked her to take advantage of others. What should she say? After waiting for a while, Xiao Chen went to the toilet. Xiao Chen's soup needed to go to the toilet 4 to 5 times a day, and it seemed that he was excreting the waste absorbed in his body. Kerlin took the opportunity to walk over. Although there were still customers on Tang Tang's side, she saw Kerlin at a glance. She didn't wait for Kerlin to speak, but gave her a bowl of soy milk, which was more than 2 servings, and filled it with fried dough sticks, which was more than 20 yuan, and handed it to her. Kerlin didn't expect that Tang Tang would give her these things before she opened her mouth, which made her very moved. She gave the money and said, "Sister, my family has a noodle stand over there, Lin's Noodle. You go there, and I will give you a discount." "Okay, take care of each other." Tang Tang took the money and smiled. Chapter 113. Originally, some customers were puzzled when they saw that Kerlin had spent 15 yuan to buy so many things, but they understood after listening to her. It turned out that they were all in the same market, so there was no way to do it. After Kerlin left, Xiao Chen came back soon. He was busy for a while before he stopped. Youtiao, honey fruit, sesame balls, and fried dough twists were almost enough to sell for today. He was relieved and began to help Tang Tang sell the goods. "By the way, Xiao Chen, do you want to eat something?" Tang Tang saw that Xiao Chen was idle, so she said to him, "I don't want to eat. Let's talk about it after the stall is closed." Xiao Chen shook his head. "I can sell it by myself. It's useless for you to be here." Tang Tang suddenly thought of something and said, "Yes, it's the little girl who often buys youtiao and soy milk at our house. She invited us to her house to eat noodles. Why don't you go? I give her a discount every day." The little girl is too embarrassed. She asked us to go to her house and give us a discount. I'm afraid that if we don't go, she will be embarrassed to come next time. Oh. Listening to Tang Tang's words, Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll go and eat a bowl." "What's the name?" Since Tang Tang said so, Xiao Chen also planned to eat a bowl. Anyway, he ate the leftover youtiao every morning. It was good to change his taste occasionally. He hadn't eaten noodles yet, and he wanted to try what it tasted like. "It's inside, Lin's Noodles." Tang Tang said, "By the way, it's opened by a junior sister's family in number 1 middle school. Weren't you in number 1 middle school before? Maybe you can know her." "Me? Okay." Xiao Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly. "How could I know her? It's more like others know me. However, now that I look so down and out, it's estimated that few people will come out, unless it's someone familiar." Xiao Chen casually took out 10 yuan from the money box and walked towards the direction of the morning market. The morning market street was very long. Xiao Chen was looking for Lin's Noodles as he looked around to see what was being sold. Last time when he bought the mask and SIM card, he was in too much of a hurry, so he didn't have time to take a good look. While Xiao Chen was searching, he suddenly saw a group of onlookers not far in front of him. He didn't know what was going on, but Xiao Chen initially didn't think much of it because there were also some performers in the morning market, so it was normal for people to surround them. However, Xiao Chen's eyes were sharp, and when he saw the small colored flag hanging in the middle of the square with the words, Lin Ji's board, written on it, Xiaoqun knew that this was the place he was looking for. What's going on here? If it were any other place, Xiaoqun would be too lazy to be a busybody, but today he came to Lin Ji's board, so Xiaoqun quickly walked over and wanted to see what was going on. However, when Xiaoqun approached, he was suddenly stunned. Because, surrounded by the crowd, in front of Lin Ji's stall, he unexpectedly saw two familiar people. One of them was actually Lin from No. 1 middle school. Xiaoqun never thought that he could meet her here. Lin Ji's board, could it be Lin's family? Xiaoqun used to know that Lin's family wasn't rich, and her parents were running a small business, but he didn't care about the specifics. Now it seemed that she was selling board noodles in the morning market street. However, why would Lin come to my own breakfast stall to buy breakfast? Moreover, why wasn't I here every time she came to buy? That's not right. The first time she came, I was here, but I didn't turn around to look. Did Lin see me? Xiaoqun wasn't sure. After all, things were too coincidental. However, now that he saw that this was Lin's stall, Xiaoqun wasn't in a hurry to go forward. He wanted to see what was going on first. After all, if Xiaoqun went forward at this time, it would definitely be very awkward. There was another familiar person in the scene. It was the red-haired guy who said he had a Porsche at the entrance of the cafe that day. Fake money? How could I spend fake money? Look at how rich I am. This leather jacket is a nouveau riche gold. This gold chain is very thick. This car key is a Porsche. These big leather boots are made of American crocodile skin. This phone is an Apple 8th generation. How could I spend fake money? The red-haired guy patted his clothes angrily and shouted at Lin. Everyone, be the judge. Who am I? I'm a nouveau riche. Do you think I lack money? If I don't lack money, why would I spend fake money? Are you kidding me? Are you trying to blackmail me? Little girl, don't speak without thinking. Even if you're trying to blackmail someone, you shouldn't have found a good target. Hurry up and give me the change. Don't waste my time. You just gave me money. I didn't even take it away, and I found out it was fake. How am I blackmailing you? Lin was about to cry. She looked at the red-haired guy and said weakly. That's right. My daughter hasn't left yet. How can I change your money into fake money? It's clearly your own. Mother Lin put her hands on her waist and said unhappily, let me tell you, don't think that my family is easy to bully. Shouting? Is this a mother-daughter battle together? Was that cripple going to come along as well? Everyone, look. Are you bullying me with numbers? The red-haired guy shouted. What's going on? Xiaoqun had seen most of it, but he didn't understand the cause. Hence, he turned around and asked an old man beside him. Sai, I met a local ruffian. He spends fake money in such a justified manner. The old man said indignantly, I know this red-haired guy. He always spends fake money in the morning market. Sometimes he gets caught, and sometimes he doesn't. Even when he gets caught, he acts righteously. Many stall owners choose to keep the peace. If you insist on going against him, he will definitely find a bunch of ruffians to deal with you the next day. Then, is there no one to testify? Xiaoqun was slightly stunned. Testify? We are already in our 70s or 80s. If those ruffians secretly take revenge on us, we might lose our lives. Who dares to provoke them? They are all gangsters. The old man shook his head helplessly. Xiaoqun looked at the other people present. Indeed, many of them showed angry expressions, but they didn't dare to say anything. Obviously, this red-haired guy was a bully of this generation. This kind of people actually existed in many markets. Some swindled people, and some blatantly collected protection fees. These poor people had no choice but to be forced by violence. They could only silently endure it. At this time, a stall owner who was familiar with them came over and pulled Lin's mother. He whispered, "Sister-in-law Lin, please keep the peace. We can't afford to offend these ruffians." Although Mother Lin was shrewish, she wasn't an idiot. When she saw Redhead's overbearing attitude, she recalled the rumor that a few hawkers in the morning market were beaten to a pulp by the delinquents and almost couldn't continue their business anymore. However, $100 might not be much to other families, but to Lin Kuer's family, it was a lot. They had worked hard for the entire morning, and could only earn around $200. Excluding the money used to buy medicine for Lin Dongliang, there was basically nothing left. AI. Mother Lin looked at the red-haired guy's fierce eyes and sighed. At this time, Lin Dongliang had already cooked a bowl of noodles and was about to serve it to the red-haired guy. When Lin didn't accept the money, he started making the noodles after the red-haired guy ordered them. Xiaochen took a deep breath and walked over. Even if this person wasn't Lin, Xiaochen wouldn't just stand by and watch. Although he was a playboy on the surface, he was a very compassionate person. Now that the person being bullied was Lin, Xiaochen couldn't bear it anymore. It wasn't that Xiaochen liked Lin a lot, but Lin's soft and weak appearance always made Xiaochen want to protect her. The first time he helped her, it was also because of Xiaochen's sympathy for her. Of course, he still had a good impression of her. Who didn't like beautiful women? Moreover, she was a beauty at the school level. "You said that this money isn't yours?" Xiaochen walked over and stared coldly at the red-haired guy. "Damn it, who are you? Brat, don't meddle in other people's business and get yourself into trouble." The red-haired guy saw that Mother Lin was about to give in, but he didn't expect that someone would come out of nowhere. This made him very angry, and he glared at Xiaochen with a murderous look. Lin looked at the sudden appearance of Xiaochen. Her eyes widened and she covered her mouth. She didn't expect that Xiaochen would actually come and help her. It was just like when she was bullied by the school bully. "Let me ask you, is this money yours?" In Xiaochen's eyes, a red-haired guy was nothing. Even the underworld's young master, Lu Junming, was taught a lesson by him, let alone a hooligan. "What does it have to do with you?" "Of course it's not mine." The red-haired guy saw that Xiaochen's physique wasn't weak, and he was alone, so he didn't dare to offend Xiaochen too much. He just had to bite the bullet and not admit it. "What if I say it's yours?" Xiaochen asked indifferently. "What proof do you have?" The red-haired guy frowned. "I'm not the police, so what proof do I need? If I say it's yours, then it's yours." Xiaochen looked at the red-haired guy with a smile that wasn't a smile. If one were to talk about being unreasonable, then Xiaochen was the ancestor of being unreasonable in the past. "Damn it, are you crazy?" The red-haired guy didn't expect that someone would suddenly appear to oppose him, and it made him very angry. "What does it have to do with you? I'll give you a chance to exchange it for real money." Xiaochen's tone was still very indifferent. "You're crazy." The moment the red-haired guy said these 3 words, he suddenly exclaimed because he saw a bowl of noodles suddenly appear on his head. However, before he could stop his exclamation, he heard a "pu" sound. The bowl of noodles was directly placed on Redhead's head, covering his red hair directly. Because the bowl of noodles was made of melamine, it was slightly tough, and the size of the bowl was about the same as the red-haired guy's head. Plus, Xiaochen's speed was fast, so the bowl directly covered the red-haired guy's head. The noodles and soup inside didn't spill out. Chapter 114. Ouch, the red-haired guy screamed in agony. The scalding noodles burned his scalp. He wanted to pull the bowl out, but the bowl was right on top of his head. He couldn't pull it out at all. The red-haired guy jumped back and forth on the ground. Fortunately, the soup wasn't boiling. After screaming for a while, the red-haired guy got used to it. He looked at Xiaochen with resentment and wanted to remember Xiaochen's appearance. Then, he turned around and wanted to leave quickly. However, before he could leave, he was pulled back by Xiaochen. "What are you doing? You want to leave just like that?" Xiao Chen grabbed the red-haired guy's collar and pressed him onto the stool again. Everyone present was dumbfounded. They didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so ruthless. Not only that, but he also wanted to pull the red-haired guy back to teach him a lesson. You. What else do you want? The red-haired guy struggled twice, but he didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so strong. This time, he suddenly lost his confidence. The bad were afraid of the ruthless, and Xiao Chen was ruthless. Don't you want to eat noodles? Are you leaving now? Xiao Chen said faintly, if you don't want to eat, then leave. Are you messing with me? Looking at Xiao Chen's cold gaze, the red-haired guy's heart was filled with resentment, but he still said carefully, Of course, I want to eat. He was afraid that if he refused, Xiao Chen would punish him again. Uncle Lin, prepare a bowl of noodles for him. Xiao Chen said to Lin Dongliang. Ah. Okay. Lin Dongliang was a little dumbfounded. He didn't know where Xiao Chen came from, but he only knew that Xiao Chen was more ruthless than the red-haired guy. He couldn't afford to offend him, so he quickly went to cook the noodles. Xiao Chen. Forget it. Forget it. Lin didn't expect Xiao Chen to stand up for her. If it was before, it would be fine if Xiao Chen was the young master of the Xiao family. As long as these punks heard of Xiao Chen's background, they would be scared witless. But now, wasn't he afraid of revenge? Forget it? Bullying people is my hobby. How can I forget it? Xiao Chen said indifferently. At this time, Lin Dongliang just finished cooking the noodles and brought it over, but Xiao Chen took it. Then, he took the ladle from the chili bucket and scooped 3 spoonfuls of chili into the noodles. Then, he placed it in front of the red-haired guy and said, eat it. The red-haired guy thought that eating a bowl of noodles would be enough. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to add so much chili. How could he eat it? Usually, people who could eat spicy food would only add a small spoonful of chili. Xiao Chen added 3 spoonfuls. Wasn't it so spicy that smoke was coming out? What? Didn't you want to eat noodles? Not eating anymore? Are you kidding me? I think you are asking for a beating. As Xiao Chen said this, he didn't hold back and directly slapped the bowl on the red-haired guy's head. It almost gave the red-haired guy a concussion. Eat. I will eat now. The red-haired guy said with a bitter face. He could see that the person in front of him didn't consider the consequences. He would hit the most uncomfortable way. Without a choice, the red-haired guy could only pick up the chopsticks and close his eyes to eat the spicy noodles. He only took a bite and was panting from the spiciness. However, when he saw Xiao Chen's indifferent gaze, the red-haired guy could only continue eating. When he finally finished the noodles, the red-haired guy raised his head and said carefully, Now, is it okay? Why aren't you drinking the soup? Xiao Chen frowned. Why? You think it's not good? Do you want me to help you? As he said this, Xiao Chen was about to pick up the soup bowl. I will drink. The red-haired guy was shocked. He was afraid that Xiao Chen would smash the bowl on his face. If the chili got into his eyes, he wouldn't be able to live. Then hurry up. Don't waste time. Xiao Chen said impatiently. The red-haired guy looked at the red bowl of chili soup in front of him with tears in his eyes. He clenched his teeth, picked it up, and gulped it down. However, he only drank half of it and couldn't drink anymore. Just as he was about to put it down, he didn't expect a big hand to reach over and press on the bottom of the bowl. The other hand directly pinched his cheek. The remaining half of the chili soup, along with the chili inside, was poured into the red-haired guy's throat. Cough, 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 cough. When Xiao Chen released his hand, the red-haired guy's face turned red. Coupled with the big green bowl on his head looked like a huge chili pepper. The overbearing spiciness made him cough violently. He couldn't even breathe. He coughed on the ground for a long time and coughed out a pile of red phlegm. It was unknown whether it was the chili soup or his throat that was bleeding from the spiciness. However, even so, the surrounding audience didn't sympathize with the red-haired guy. This matter was originally the red-haired guy's fault. These people didn't dare to say anything before, but now that someone came out to uphold justice, they were naturally happy to see it. I can go now," the red-haired guy said intermittently while gasping for breath. However, he was secretly determined to teach this young man in front of him a lesson. He wanted to remember Xiao Chen's appearance. "You can leave after paying for the noodles," Xiao Chen said. "Okay." The red-haired guy didn't argue this time. He opened his wallet, took out 10 yuan, and handed it to Xiao Chen. "It's not enough," Xiao Chen said. "Isn't a bowl of noodles 8 yuan? The red-haired guy's face stiffened. "He can't be trying to extort me, right? Isn't the bowl on your head noodles?" Xiao Chen asked. "Okay." The red-haired guy took out another 10 yuan and handed it to Xiao Chen. "There's something extra for the second bowl. Don't you know?" Xiao Chen snorted coldly. "Something extra?" The red-haired guy was stunned. "I added 3 spoonfuls of chili, 10 yuan per spoon," Xiao Chen said. The red-haired guy almost cried. "Damn, I'm dying from the spiciness, and you still want my chili money?" However, looking at Xiao Chen's expression, if he didn't pay, it wouldn't be as simple as 3 spoonfuls of chili. The red-haired guy handed Xiao Chen another 30 yuan and asked with a bitter face, "Is it okay now?" "Okay." "The takeout on your head came with a bowl. Don't you need to pay a deposit? If you run away, who do I care about?" Xiao Chen pointed at the bowl of noodles on the red-haired guy's head. The red-haired guy was about to collapse. "Bro, just tell me how much you want, give me another 50 yuan. Return the bowl to me tomorrow, and I'll return it to you," Xiao Chen said. "Okay." The red-haired guy thought, "Who knows where you will go tomorrow? Where can I find you to return the bowl? Moreover, if I find you, I'll kill you and return the bowl. The red-haired guy, will definitely take revenge." The red-haired guy took out another 50 yuan and handed it to Xiao Chen. Then, he didn't wait for Xiao Chen to speak and left. Even though Xiao Chen tortured the red-haired guy to such a sorry state, when the red-haired guy left, the surrounding crowd still made way for him. Xiao Chen wasn't afraid of the red-haired guy, but they couldn't afford to offend him. The red-haired guy felt wronged and angry at the same time. Originally, he was going to scam money, but who knew that such a ruthless person would appear? He was simply a maniac who wasn't threatened by him. How unlucky. He wanted to find a public toilet and remove the bowl on his head. Xiao Chen. "Thank you." Kerlin saw the red-haired guy leave and let out a sigh of relief. However, she was still worried about Xiao Chen. She was afraid that the red-haired guy would find someone to take revenge on him. "You. Hurry up and leave. What if he comes back?" When Mother Lin heard Kerlin's words, she knew that her daughter knew the person in front of her. However, looking at the way Xiao Chen dressed, he didn't look like a rich person. This brat must have taken a fancy to her daughter's beauty and came to court her. However, Mother Lin didn't like Xiao Chen. She was hoping that her beautiful daughter could find a rich husband and change her life. If she found an ordinary person, then wouldn't she have to sell breakfast in the future? Since that was the case, Mother Lin snorted coldly. "Why did you let him leave? He beat up that little hooligan. What if that little hooligan comes back? How are we going to deal with him?" "Mom." Lin Kuer didn't expect that not only did her mother not thank her, but she also criticized Xiao Chen. She immediately became a little unhappy. "He's my classmate and he's standing up for our family. How could you say that?" Hearing that it was her daughter's classmate, Mother Lin knew that she couldn't go overboard. Moreover, she really had to thank Xiao Chen for today's matter. Therefore, she said indifferently, "Young man, thank you. However, you are feeling good now. If that person comes back, it's fine. I'm from the youtiao stall over there. He came to find me. Just let him go." Xiao Chen smiled and didn't argue with Mother Lin for Lin's sake. In fact, he also understood that these ordinary citizens who did small business might not be grateful to you if you helped them because they were afraid of being retaliated. This was also the reason why many people didn't dare to call the police when they were bullied. They were afraid that the hooligans would come back for revenge. Ah. You're the youtiao seller. Mother Lin was a little embarrassed this time. She took advantage of him for 2 days, and he still came to help her. They were all in the same market and often met. Andy's words just now were a little unpleasant, but you should also understand. Auntie is afraid that if you leave, those people will take revenge on Auntie. I understand. Xiao Chen nodded and said, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. This is the money that Redhead gave me. With that said, Xiao Chen put the 100 yuan that Redhead gave on the table. He nodded to Lin and quickly left. Lin opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but Xiao Chen had already walked far away. In her heart, she suddenly felt a little conflicted. She had been conflicted. If Xiao Chen asked her why she went to buy youtiao, how should she answer? If Xiao Chen mentioned that she said that he could pursue her, how should she respond? However, Xiao Chen didn't even ask and just left. Lin's heart was indescribably disappointed. Looking at Xiao Chen's back, she suddenly felt that Xiao Chen had really changed. He was no longer the Xiao Chen in her memory. This Xiao Chen suddenly made her feel a little unfamiliar. Chapter 115. Mother Lin put away the 100 yuan on the table and looked at Lin, who was in a daze. She immediately scolded, "Stupid girl, are you interested in him?" "Ah. No. No." Lin's face turned red and she quickly shook her head. "Humph, I'm telling you, absolutely not. I definitely won't agree to this kind of boy who only has a bit of brute force and no money. You better give up on this idea as soon as possible." Mother Lin glared at Lin and warned. "Oh." Lin nodded woodenly and started to pack up. Redhead entered a public restroom and spent a lot of effort to remove the noodle bowl from his head. Then, he used the tap water to wash away the noodle soup on his head. As for this broken bowl, Redhead didn't even think about returning it. Xiao Chen was obviously cheating him, so how could he refund the deposit? Moreover, even if he found Xiao Chen, it wouldn't be as simple as returning the bowl. He would kill him. Not to mention that he didn't spend the fake money, he even lost 100 yuan in real money. Redhead was very depressed. After leaving the public restroom, he once again looked for his next target. A thief never leaves empty-handed. As a swindler, he had the same logic. If he went back without making a profit, he would be very unhappy. Of course, if he wanted to make a move again, he couldn't choose a place that was too close to the previous one. After such a big incident, the small merchants and peddlers nearby also came to watch the show. If he went to swindle them again, it wouldn't be easy for him to succeed. Everyone was on guard against him, so who could be swindled? He prepared to find a place further away to make his move. After walking for a distance, he suddenly found a stall selling youtiao. There were many people here, and there was an endless stream of people eating. Moreover, there was only one person there. According to Redhead's past experience, this was the best place to make a move. Because in these kinds of popular stalls, the stall owner didn't have time to carefully distinguish the authenticity of the money, so he had the opportunity to take advantage of it. After choosing his target, Redhead pretended as if nothing had happened and went to the youtiao stall. He stood in the middle of the queue and this youtiao stall was the one that Xiao Chen was at. Xiao Chen went to eat noodles, leaving Tang Tang alone. When it was Red Hair's turn, he handed Tang Tang 100 yuan. Tang Tang wanted to check if the money was real, but she was interrupted by Red Hair. "Which is better, tofu pudding or soybean milk?" "They're all delicious. The tofu pudding is new in the last 2 days. It's also good." Tang Tang was interrupted by him and forgot to check the authenticity of the money. "Oh, give me 5 yuan worth of fried dough sticks and a bowl of tofu pudding. I'll eat here." Red Hair said, "Just give me change later." Give me food first, I'm starving to death. Okay, wait a moment. Tang Tang threw the money into the money box and prepared to weigh the fried dough sticks for Red Hair. After all, he was the only one working here, and it was easy for him to forget some things. Seeing Tang Tang put away the money, Red Hair breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It went well this time. However, as he was feeling proud, he suddenly felt someone patting his shoulder from behind. Red Hair was stunned and turned around. He almost peed his pants. Are you looking for me to return the bowl? Xiao Chen looked at Red Hair and asked faintly. Ugh. Why are you here? Red Hair didn't expect Xiao Chen to follow him here. He was really haunting him. This is my stall. Why can't I be here? Xiao Chen didn't hide it. He said this because he meant that if Red Hair wasn't convinced in the future, he could come here to look for him. He didn't have to look for Kerlin. Ah. This is your stall. Red Hair almost knelt down. My luck is so good that it came to me on its own initiative. I was almost beaten to death by Xiao Chen when I lied to others. If I lied to Xiao Chen, wouldn't I be killed? A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Red Hair turned around and wanted to leave. Your fried dough sticks. Tang Tang finished weighing the fried dough sticks. She looked up and saw that Xiao Chen was back, and that Red Hair was about to leave. She was a little confused. Are you going to have fried dough sticks? I don't want them. Red Hair said subconsciously. You don't want them? Are you here to fool around with me? You want them and you don't want them anymore? Xiao Chen grabbed Red Hair's hair and pulled him back. At this time, some customers came over from the crowd. They also recognized Red Hair and Xiao Chen and began to discuss. Those who didn't know and thought that Xiao Chen was bullying customers knew the inside story now, so no one sympathized with Red Hair. I want them. Red Hair grimaced in pain. He turned around and was afraid that Xiao Chen would flip out, so he quickly said to Tang Tang, I didn't pay just now, right? I'll settle the bill after we finish eating. You didn't pay? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. You did. Didn't you pay 100 yuan? You didn't pay. Red Hair said firmly. Then, this is. Tang Tang said. She picked up the 100 yuan on the top of the money box. She was about to say something, but when she took a closer look, she found the problem. The banknote was fake. Fake money? That's not mine. I haven't paid yet. Red Hair subconsciously looked at Xiao Chen. Seeing that Xiao Chen didn't have the intention to beat him, he quickly denied it. At this time, the onlookers understood that Red Hair came to spend fake money. He was seen through, so he didn't dare to admit it. Okay, hurry up and eat. Xiao Chen pushed Red Hair to the table and placed the fried dough sticks in front of him. Then he asked Tang Tang, what else does he want? A bowl of tofu pudding, Tang Tang said. I'll get it for him. You continue to serve the others. As Xiao Chen said this, he went to get a bowl of tofu pudding for Red Hair, but he directly poured half a can of chili powder into it. Then, he directly put it in front of Red Hair. I saw that you like to eat chili, so I specially made a bowl of added ingredients for you. You don't have to thank me. Eat it. Eat more. Red Hair almost cried. Those chili peppers had almost killed him. If he were to eat these, he would have a stomach bleed. However, he couldn't not eat it. It would be even more uncomfortable if Xiao Chen forced it into his mouth. Red Hair had no choice but to pinch his nose and eat it. His original intention was to pretend to eat a few bites and then leave, but now he had no choice but to eat seriously. However, he just ate a bowl of noodles before. How could he have such a big appetite? Now, he was forcing it into his mouth. You seem to have a big appetite. I can give you another bowl of soy milk for free. As Xiao Chen said this, he filled another bowl of soy milk for Red Hair and put it aside. Then, He added 2 spoonfuls of chili oil. Red Hair looked at such a big bowl of red soy milk and almost vomited. If I pour it into my mouth, will it come back out directly from my throat? Originally, Red Hair wanted to sneak away after eating half, but who would have thought that when he looked up, he could see Xiao Chen's smiling devil's face. So, he could only lower his head and force himself to pour it into his mouth. When he finally finished eating, Red Hair forced himself not to vomit. He was afraid that if he vomited, Xiao Chen would find an excuse to mess with him again. He could only cover his mouth and take out 100 yuan from his wallet. He put it on the table and turned to leave. However, he was pulled back by Xiao Chen before he could take 2 steps. Big brother. Is there anything else? Red Hair raised his head, afraid that he would vomit on Xiao Chen. Your change. Xiao Chen said. No. No need. Goodbye. Red Hair turned around and left. Xiao Chen saw that Red Hair was on the verge of vomiting. He was afraid that Red Hair would vomit here, so he didn't make it difficult for him. Sure enough, Red Hair didn't walk far before he squatted on the side of the road and vomited. Red and white things spurted out. One was because of the spiciness, and the other was because he ate too much, so it was overflowing. You who sold youtiao, just you wait. Wah, if I don't mess with you, I won't be Red Hair. Red Hair secretly swore in his heart while vomiting. After Red Hair left, Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen strangely. How do you know him? How do you know that he spent fake money? I was almost fooled by him. I was going to eat noodles just now, and I saw him using fake money to cheat people. Xiao Chen said as he began to pack up. It was almost time to go to school. Is he the one who cheated the noodles? Tang Tang didn't expect it to be so coincidental. That's the one. Xiao Chen nodded. That Lin's noodles was opened by my former classmate, Lin. I used to pursue her, and it made me quite embarrassed. No way. I was wondering why she didn't see you even once after coming here several times. Is she deliberately avoiding you? Tang Tang was a little surprised. You pursued her? But she is indeed very beautiful, and she is not weaker than your goddess, but the difference between your backgrounds. Actually, it's just a joke. Xiao Chen said that he saved Lin once, and then he was afraid that others would harass her, so he deliberately said that he wanted to pursue her. It turns out to be like this. In that case, Lin is grateful to you. I know. She must have seen you selling youtiao here, and then she thought that you were living in poverty. She wanted to buy some to help you the day before yesterday, but she didn't expect our youtiao to be so delicious. After she went back, her mother asked her to continue to buy more. Tang Tang suddenly thought of the key. The day before yesterday, she thought our youtiao couldn't be sold, so we gave her more. She didn't feel anything, but it was different yesterday and today, I say, but after such an incident, she probably won't come again. Xiao Chen shook his head. Although Xiao Chen still had a trace of affection for Lin in his heart, it was just appreciation for a beauty. Now his life was gradually drifting away from her, and there would be no more intersection. Why? Xiao Chen, listening to your tone, you sound a little disappointed. Tang Tang teased. Chapter 116. I don't think so. If I were the old Xiao Chen, it would be possible for me to pursue her. But now, I am still living under someone else's roof. If I get a girlfriend, where will I live? Xiao Chen shrugged and said. I say, young Master Xiao, your thoughts are not pure. Do you want to live with a girlfriend? Tang Tang joked after listening. Xiao Chen's face suddenly turned red. He was just influenced by others and thought that he should live with a girlfriend. But in fact, he was still a virgin. I just said it casually. Would you believe it if I said that I have never had a girlfriend before? Who would believe it? I have heard of your reputation from far away, Xiao Chen. Tang Tang curled her lips. Obviously, she did not believe Xiao Chen's words. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Was his image that bad before? It seemed that his disguise was quite successful. But, why did someone still target him after he succeeded? Lu Zhenming was not a big deal in Xiao Chen's eyes. What troubled Xiao Chen most was that invisible big hand. Was it a person, a group of people, or an organization? Was it a coincidence that his father disappeared, or was there something related to it? As soon as he arrived at the school, Xiao Chen received a text message from Miss Jean. Jing Xian and Qin Jinpeng will come to ask me and Bebe to go out to play tonight. Will you come? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Qin Jinpeng had just been tricked. Did he come to ask for trouble again? However, it did not matter whether he went or not. Qin Jinpeng could not do anything to Miss Jean and Bebe. Instead, Xiao Chen was very worried about Qin Jinpeng's safety. I won't go. Xiao Chen replied. He planned to go to the pharmacy to buy medicine tonight. Soon, Miss Jin's text message came again. Bebe said that he wants you to go back with him tonight. His grandpa is looking for you. Old Master Jean is looking for me? Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that he had promised Old Master Jean to treat him. He was so busy at home that he forgot about it. However, since he had promised, he had to do it. So, he replied, okay, but I have to go home to get some medicine first. As soon as Xiao Chen pressed the send button, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and found it was Qin Jinpeng. It surprised Xiao Chen a little, but he still picked up the phone. Little brother, what do you want to talk to your boss? Hee, here's the thing. My new boss, Chao Yuliang, is going to invite you, my old boss, to dinner tonight. Jing Xian is going too. She also invited Qing Menjing and Jean Bebe. Do you want to come with us? Chout. Liang? Does this guy feel that he has lost his face in front of Shin Jingxian after being tricked by Jean Bebe last time? So, he invites Chao Yuliang to humiliate me tonight. However, Xiao Chen had planned to go. Now that Qin Jinpeng invited him, he was not in a hurry to agree. Instead, he said, Pengzi, I have to make money tonight. You know, I'm very short of money now. Qing Menjing doesn't pay me. I have to make money by myself. I plan to go to the night market tonight. Qin Jinpeng didn't expect that Xiao Chen would say so. He had given Xiao Chen enough face on the phone before. According to Xiao Chen's arrogant character, he would definitely agree. Unexpectedly, he wanted to set up a stall. It seemed that time was a butcher's knife. Even the most awesome child had to lower his head in the face of poverty. If he had seen Xiao Chen lower his head in the past, he would have been very happy. But today, it was Chao Yuliang who ordered him to invite Xiao Chen. If he couldn't accomplish the task, how could he explain it to Chao Yuliang? Last time, when Qin Jinpeng lost his car and went back in Chao Yuliang's car, they talked about Xiao Chen on the way back. When they mentioned that Xiao Chen came to dinner with Qing Menjing, Qin Jinpeng said that Xiao Chen was living in his own fantasy and was fooled by Jean Bebe. Chao Yuliang didn't take it seriously. However, after Chao Yuliang went back, he felt that something was wrong the more he thought about it. Jean Bebe was famous for being mean to the childs of the aristocratic families. How could she be in the mood to fool around with Xiao Chen? If she were to fool around with Xiao Chen, she would have killed Xiao Chen a long time ago. Just like Qin Jinpeng, he lost his car after one dinner, but Xiao Chen was still intact. Of course, Chao Yuliang couldn't rule out the possibility that Jean Bebe wanted to keep Xiao Chen around for fun. However, Chao Yuliang just couldn't be reassured. He wanted to personally invite Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe out to take a look. He wanted to see if Jean Bebe was really fooling around with Xiao Chen or if there was something fishy going on between the two of them. Pengzi, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I just finished the morning market and have to go to class. Xiao Chen said impatiently. Wait. How could Qin Jinpeng let Xiao Chen hang up? He said hurriedly, Xiao Chen, how much money can you make in the night market? Oh, when it's good, it should be around 100,000 or 80,000 yuan, right? Xiao Chen said, 100,000 or 80,000 yuan. Qin Jinpeng was stunned. How could he make so much money? But then he realized that Xiao Qin wanted to trick him. Damn it. This guy has been with Jean Bebe for a long time. Although he didn't learn anything else, he was quite good at tricking people. Xiao Qin, 80,000 or 80,000 yuan in the night market, that's not impossible. For example, the youtiao I made was delicious, and a rich person ate it. It's very possible that he would tip me 100 or 80,000. Xiao Qin said seriously. Qin Jinpeng's mouth twitched. Tipped you? Do you want me to vote for you once more? Qin Jinpeng had been reading a novel called Campus Belle's Bodyguard these days, so he knew about tipping and monthly tickets. But he couldn't say it. If he said it, Xiao Qin would be angry and stop coming, and he would be screwed. He had no choice but to say, Xiao Qin, why don't you come? I'll give you 100,000 yuan as a gift from me. Oh. But you know, if I don't open the stall today, those customers can't find me, and they won't come next time. Closing the stall will hurt the customers. Xiao Qin said in a bitter tone. How about 150,000 yuan? Qin Jinpeng curled his lips and thought, now Xiao Qin is so down and out. 150,000 yuan is not a small amount, but it's nothing for Xiao Qin in the past. Okay. I'll do you a favor. I'll ask Tang Tang to open the stall, and I'll earn some appearance fees. Xiao Qin said reluctantly. Damn it. If Tang Tang goes to open the stall, how can you hurt the customers? Appearance fees? Do you think you're a big star? But since Xiao Qin agreed to come, Qin Jinpeng didn't want to make trouble, so he just said, see you tonight. Will you come with Qing Menjing and the others? I'll see, Xiao Qin said. Okay. Xiao Qin, I won't bother you. With that, Qin Jinpeng hung up the phone, cursed Xiao Qin's treachery and greed, and hurried to report to Chow Yuliang. The day passed quickly. When school was over, Xiao Qin and Jean Bebe borrowed a car and went home to get the medicine. In fact, they went to the pharmacy to buy some medicinal materials on the way. Anyway, they had to wait for Shen Jingxian and the others at the school gate for a while, so they were not in a hurry. Xiao Qin parked the car in front of the pharmacy and walked into the pharmacy. Hong Yan looked up and saw Xiao Qin, wrinkling her nose at him. Obviously, she was on guard against Xiao Qin, who read romance novels, Jean Ping Mei. Seeing Hong Yan, Xiao Qin didn't have the enthusiasm in the past, and he didn't know what he did to provoke her, but he still said politely, I'm here to buy medicine. Is the old grandpa here? Oh, grandpa, someone is looking for me. Hong Yan picked up the book and continued to read, ignoring Xiao Qin. Grandpa Qin came out from the back. Seeing Xiao Qin, he nodded to him. He was used to the frequency of Xiao Qin's visit every 2 or 3 days. What medicine do you want this time? The same medicine as last time, Xiao Qin said. The same medicine as last time, but this time, I can't sell it at the same price. It's too cheap, and I can't explain it to the boss at the headquarters. Grandpa Qin said, this time, I can only give you a 50% discount, and charge you 500,000 yuan. What? 500,000 yuan? Xiao Qin was shocked. He thought that the 1.9 million yuan he had could support him for a long time. Who would have thought that a medicine with a 50% discount would cost 500,000 yuan? Next time, I probably won't even have a 50% discount, right? Why is it so expensive? It can't be that because I have become a regular customer, you want to slander me, right? Although Xiao Qin felt that this old grandpa looked kind, and he shouldn't be that kind of person, but as the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. However, he had taken care of me many times before. Xiao Qin couldn't not buy it. Even if he wanted to go to other stores to inquire about the price, it was a matter for the future. Thinking of this, Xiao Qin gritted his teeth and took out his bank card. He said to Grandpa Qin, okay, thank you, Grandpa Qin. I will pay by card. Yen, you help him to pay by card. I will get the medicine for him. Grandpa Qin nodded and said. Oh. After Hong Yan heard it, she put down the book. She found the POS machine reluctantly and handed it to Xiao Chen. She didn't forget to glare at him. Swipe it. I say. Sister Yan Yan, right? How did I offend you? Xiao Chen swiped the card and finally couldn't help but ask. Who asked you to let me read those dirty books? Hong Yan took back the POS machine and took out the receipt for Xiao Chen to sign. Xiao Chen was stunned. Then he remembered that Hong Yan mentioned Jean Ping Mei, which made him a little speechless. This chick's thoughts are complicated. She treats romance novels as Jean Ping Mei, and she still blames me? When Grandpa Chen heard Hong Yan's words, he couldn't help but laugh. He handed the medicine to Xiao Chen and said, Young man, it's done. Here you go. Thank you, old grandpa. Then, I will leave. Xiao Chen looked at Hong Yan's angry look. He really didn't know how to explain. After leaving the pharmacy, Xiao Chen went straight to the villa. When he returned home, he took some of the previous medicine dregs and put the newly bought medicine into the electric clay pot. After setting the time, he hurriedly left the villa. Chapter 117. However, on the way back to school, Xiao Chen found another pharmacy and planned to inquire about the price. This store also sold all kinds of medicinal materials. Xiao Chen handed the prescription to an old shopkeeper and asked, Excuse me, do you have all these medicinal materials? Let me take a look. The old man took Xiao Chen's prescription, picked up his reading glasses, and looked at it carefully. But after reading it, he shook his head and said, Who gave you this prescription? I know most of the herbs listed, but there are a few that I've never heard of before. Is there a mistake, or is there another name for them? What medicinal materials? Xiao Chen asked quickly. This is it. Bitter fruit, red sweet flower, water glossy Ganoderma. I have sold medicine for so many years, but I have never heard of these. Could it be that it was prescribed by a wandering doctor? The old man looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. Moreover, the other medicinal materials are also great tonics. They are priceless. At your age, you don't have any diseases or disasters. Why do you want to eat these things? Xiao Chen sighed in his heart. I actually don't have them. It seems that the pharmacy I went to isn't an ordinary pharmacy. I didn't expect that I would find the right place. If I went to other pharmacies, I really couldn't buy these things. Looking at the old man's resolute tone, it didn't seem like he was lying. Moreover, there was no need for him to lie. So, Xiao Chen continued to ask, How much do the other medicinal materials cost? I don't have many of the other medicinal materials in stock. Moreover, with your quantity, these medicinal materials cost at least 300,000 yuan. Young man, did you get cheated? The old man frowned and said, Listen to me. You don't have to eat these. If you have a problem with your body, find a proper hospital to have a look. Most of those wandering doctors are liars. Okay, thank you, old man. I was just asking. Now it seems that it's really fake. It's just that my body is a little weak. This is also a prescription given to me by someone else. Xiao Chen took back the prescription and nodded. However, he felt ashamed in his heart. These medicinal herbs that could be bought in the market were worth more than 300,000 yuan, and there were so many medicinal herbs that could not be bought. In this way, 1 million yuan for one medicinal herb was really not a high price, especially when they gave him a 50% discount. How could he still doubt them? After leaving the pharmacy, Xiao Chen sighed. He thought that the money would last him for a long time, but now it seemed that he would run out of money in a few days. Money, money, you murderous knife. Xiao Chen had never been so short of money. If he had known that he could cultivate when he was in the Xiao family, he believed that even if Qing Menjiang's uncle died, old Master Qing would not easily break off the engagement, right? Of course, even if he broke off the engagement, the Xiao family would not drive him out of the family easily, would they? However, Had it not been for the opportunity, Xiao Chen would not have met the elder heaven ancestor and embarked on the awesome path of cultivation. When Xiao Chen returned to school, he saw two cars next to Qing Menjing and Jean Beibei. One of them was a Porsche 991, and the other was an Audi A6L. Xiao Chen's eyelids twitched when he saw the cars. He had a vague memory of the car, but he did not know where he had seen it before. However, Audi A6L was a very common car. It was not strange that Xiao Chen had seen it before. The Porsche 991 was obviously Qin Jinping's. He was standing next to the car and talking to Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian did not interrupt but simply listened to him with a smile. That was exactly her personality. She was always warm to everybody. Her sunny smile and her gentle tone did not betray her real thoughts. There was no telling whether or not she had accepted Qin Jinping. It was impossible for Xiao Chen not to care about the fact that his former goddess had become the fiancée of his former follower. However, some things had changed, and Xiao Chen was no longer the Xiao Chen in the past. Even if he killed Qin Jinping, the Shen family would still choose another family for Shen Jingxian to marry. Would he kill every family that appeared? Chao Yuliang, on the other hand, was talking to Qing Menjing. Compared to Shen Jingxian, the lady's emotions were all written on her face. She looked at Chao Yuliang indifferently. Xiao Chen stopped the car. Jean Beibei shouted happily, "Cousin-in-law, you're here." Chao Yuliang couldn't help but frown when he heard the word cousin-in-law. However, he couldn't tell whether Jean Beibei was sincere or sarcastic. Because Jean Beibei's thoughts were too unpredictable. Xiao Chen nodded. At this moment, Chao Yuliang turned to look at Xiao Chen and said, "Xiao Chen, we've been fighting for so many years, but there's no clear winner. However, you were unexpectedly driven out of the family and lost the chance to compete with me for Qing Menjing." What a pity. When Chao Yuliang said this, although he was looking at Xiao Chen, he was also looking at Qing Menjing out of the corner of his eyes. He wanted to know what Qing Menjing thought about Xiao Chen. However, it was a pity that the lady's face was still cold. This made Xiao Chen feel slightly relieved. Chao Yuliang was secretly observing Qing Menjing. Wasn't he the same? If he gave himself away in front of his sworn enemy and the Qing family heard about it, it wouldn't be a joke. However, the lady's emotions were only on the surface. In front of outsiders, she didn't care about Xiao Chen at all. Even when Xiao Chen came, she just took a glance at him and didn't pay attention to him anymore. As for what Jean Beibei said, that was Jean Beibei's business. Practically no one dared to casually believe her words. Don't talk about those useless things. Where's my appearance fee? Chao Yuliang was about to say something to make Xiao Chen lower his guard against him. He wanted to see if there was anything fishy between Xiao Chen, Qing Menjing, and Jean Beibei. However, he didn't expect that he would be interrupted by Xiao Chen directly. As a result, he couldn't say what he had prepared. He was very upset. Give it to him. Chao Yuliang looked at Qin Jinping. Here you are. This is a card worth 150,000 yuan. The password is 6 zeros. Qin Jinping handed a bank card to Xiao Chen. Okay. Ask me to come out next time. Remember, the minimum appearance fee is 150,000 yuan. Xiao Chen put away the bank card in satisfaction and said. Chao Yuliang frowned. Xiao Chen was almost the same as the rumor said. He was still arrogant, but he had become greedy. However, it was normal. It was probably the first time that the young master of the Xiao family had tasted the feeling of being poor. It would be strange if he wasn't greedy. Then, can we go to eat now? Asked Chao Yuliang. I don't have a problem with that. Why don't you ask them? Xiao Chen pointed at Qing Menjing and Jean Beibei. When they were outside, he had to remember his identity as a servant and did not dare to usurp the host's position, although he was in charge of Qing Menjing's meals every day. Humph. Qin Jinping, are you looking down on me? Even my servants have appearance fees. Why don't I, the host, have them? Qing Menjing hated Qin Jinping and Chao Yuliang. If it weren't for Shen Jingxian, she wouldn't have bothered to come out. Well. Qin Jinpeng felt like crying. What's wrong with these people being assimilated by Jean Bebe? Why are they so greedy for money? Qiao Yuliang nodded slightly. Qin Jinpeng hurried to take out a bank card from his pocket and gave it to Qing Menjing. Yes. How can I not have it? This is a 200,000 yuan card. The password is 6 zeros. It was the card that Qin Jinpeng had prepared to pay for the meal later, but he had given it away just like that. Only 200,000 yuan? It's not even enough to fill the gap between my teeth. Qing Menjing took over the bank card and gave it to Xiao Chen without even looking at it. Take it. It's a reward from me. Thank you, miss. Xiao Chen hurried to take the card. He didn't expect that Qing Menjing would give him money. What a surprise. However, it didn't matter even if the Qing family learned about it. After all, it could be regarded as a way for Qing Menjing to humiliate Xiao Chen. The corner of Qin Jinpeng's mouth twitched. Damn it. 200,000 yuan is still not enough. If you are not Shen Jingshuan's good friend and brother Liang's goddess, you can go if you want. Get the hell out of here. You have already spent more than 300,000 yuan before the meal. Nobody who is with Jean Bebe is a good person. Shall we go now? It's almost time. Qiao Yuliang looked at his watch and said, Xiao Chen, are you going to take my car? Shen Jingxian would definitely take Qin Jinpeng's car, and Jean Bebe had a car. Even if Qiao Yuliang wanted Qing Menjing to take his car, it was impossible. I still need a driver. Xiao Chen, you drive. Qing Menjing said as she pointed at Pamela. Oh, okay. Xiao Chen nodded. He was a bit resigned. Qiao Yuliang wished he could exchange with Xiao Chen. It was a good opportunity to get close to his goddess. He didn't expect that Xiao Chen, a servant, would waste it. The place where they ate today was a northern restaurant. The specifications couldn't be said to be the most luxurious, but it was also very unique. There was a 3-story building with an independent parking lot in front of the door. It was also a well-known restaurant in this neighborhood. Most importantly, it was one of the properties of the Qiao family and Qiao Yuliang's territory. Qiao Yuliang parked the car and waited for Qin Jinpeng, Shen Jingxian, Xiao Chen, Qing Menjing, and Jean Bebe to get off the car. Then, he entered the hotel with them. Young Master Qiao, Young Master Qin, Miss Qing, Miss Shen, and Miss Jean, welcome. The doorman directly ignored Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen had eaten here before. Therefore, it was impossible that the doorman didn't know him. However, the news that he was kicked out of the Xiao family had obviously spread out, especially in the hotel of the Qiao family. Therefore, these people started to look down on him. However, Xiao Chen didn't care about that. When he was about to go in, Jean Bebe started to lose her temper. Hey, you, why did you put me at the back? Do you mean that I'm worse than Qiao Yuliang and Qin Jinpeng? I'm going to tell my grandpa that you are discriminating against the Jean family. You despise us. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.